Warning. This video was recorded from February 28th to March 1st this year. This podcast was to mark a new series that ended up getting canned. This podcast hasn't been edited till now.
I would suggest, though, you give a rewatch to the older tier list videos. I find them funny. The Pixar one, I think that's fair to mine, yeah.
So, German, have you broken any controllers before?
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to, I guess, a new podcast because, yeah, everybody's doing a podcast nowadays. I'm sorry this intro is a bit drunk. Of course, I've never done this. And
actually, if anything, I don't even know what the hell he means by podcast. If anything, this is the successor to I don't know. Remember that tier list series he did?
Yeah, that too.
Alone in the dark, like a crybaby.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, I'm not done a tier list in like 50 goddamn years. So this is like, yeah, this.
You know what's funny? Wasn't the last one before COVID?
Yes, it was. I think. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure we did a few during. No, the last one's like 2021. I remember.
Yeah, 2021. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, okay, 2021. Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah, and as you can see, a lot of things have changed recently. So, like, I would say right now, this tier list isn't really going to be mine actually, because here's how things are going to go. This is, I guess, more like the disgusting tier list type of series, where before it was just me talking out of my ass random crap, while here it's just going to be us discussing about stuff we give a crap about, I guess. So I'm here today with my good friend German Salvador, or Nessie Boy PS3.
Wait, where the fuck you call me Nessie Boy PS3? I don't think I don't use that name anymore. I use Nessie Boy. Okay, Nessie Boy PS3. I mean, that's a good name, but I don't use it anymore. It's Nessie Boy 64 completely.
Oh, it's because your main account on YouTube.
No, it's Nessie Boy 64.
Oh.
Nessie Boy 64.
Oh, it's probably because I keep searching your name and I always find
yeah, I don't blame you. Every time you look up Nessie Boy PS3, that's how you find it. I know. And when you look for my old channel, for the one where all the home vlogs and shit is at, that's you have to look up Nessie Boy 64 and you find that. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And if you guys want to know a bit of what he does, he has a movie channel, Liverline Productions. We make a bunch of movies and crap. He also does, of course, a vlog channel as well. And he has a main account, which is currently, actually, all of his channels are currently, besides his vlog channel, are currently on hiatus. So, yeah.
Yes. I love that this is how everybody has to hear the news outside of that one video we did where we tortured Ethan.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. If anything, I think it's funny he's introducing me like we never met. We've been friends since like elementary. In fact, this year is going to be 10 years.
Yeah. Yes, but we've been friends since elementary. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, of course. I mean, I'm the guy he talks about in the Hooba Dooba 2 video. I'm gonna make a better one than you, German.
Oh my god, yes, yes, which that video was like 3 years old. Like I don't know how old that video is.
It's old. It's old. I remember. It's like it was in 2018. I remember that was the year where you show people my other channel, and because of that, I deleted a lot of videos. But one of the videos that still stays to this day, even though you have to go to the Hooba Dooba playlist, is
Hooba Dooba 1.
Hooba Dooba 1. You got me my frame, and you know what's funny? Right here in my webcam, this is where I filmed it. I came back from IKEA, and I remember it was either IKEA or Best Buy, and I came back, and my room was like a mess, so I was just like, I find Woody, and I just play with Woody, and that's how the video was born. It was literally because my room was a mess, and I found Woody, so I decided to play with him. And I remember, that was just a video I did in 2017. Then years later, that became a whole meme, where in our classroom at least, where he showed it to some kids, in particular this guy we're going to call G over here. In fact, fun fact, he actually appeared in a video that Lewis made, Benny's Restaurant, as the police officer. If you're wondering what happened to this G guy, though, he actually committed crimes. He's actually the only guy we know in life that's actually a fucking crime committer.
Yes, and you can even see in the video, I don't have the link to his channel anymore because one of his channel's dead.
He deleted it. It got hacked. It got deleted. That's what happened to it.
And two,
you know what's funny? Yeah. We remember his channel. It was like a bunch of shitty memes. And in fact, there's this one animation he commissioned. My god, he's had a bad channel. But yeah, this kid, though, he made fun of me. And because of that, I was so sad and I didn't know what to do because this is the first time I got attention. Because remember, before, my channel was just itself. So So I got this all this attention, and I'm like, they keep making fun of me, and then I deleted a lot of videos, and it's a shame because there's a lot of videos that I can't recreate. One of them was this guy walking up, and he says, "Poop!" and then he walks away. I can't make it anymore because if you guys don't know, it was made with this app that's actually a bit of a meme here and there, and it was this app that no longer exists anymore. It was this app where you had this anime character and like you could do this stuff. And I remember and people probably know for it because it was the origin of the bunny girl gym meme. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like this bunny girl that's like, "Oh, I'm gonna exercise and throw up. Oh my god, I hate myself." It was like a funny as hell meme. Like I don't remember if you heard of it. It's like this girl that's like this bunny that's like exercising and shit. Tina always wanted to leave my room.
Oh my god.
Tina's my cat.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally, yeah, that was like the meme. But yeah, that was a video that was on the channel. But yeah, like literally, yeah, I had a channel and I moved on from that channel because that's my mom's account and I don't own it. So I made another account which ended up being Schwartz-Diemerheimer. And Schwartz-Diemerheimer turned into an alt because what happened was that I made so many random videos on there and it became a vlog channel pretty much. So that's why I made another channel that ended up being pretty much the home for the creepypasta video, which is at the moment sadly still the well, I say sadly because I wish I could do more at the moment, but I can't because I'm busy with stuff. But especially school stuff in particular. But yeah, at the moment, like yeah, that's still currently I would argue the video because the rest are just more like side stuff. I'd argue, along with probably even the Elves review. The Elves review could have been better. It was just mainly like
I remember I really made fun of that video when it came out.
Yes. A thing you guys gotta know is that between me and him, Lewis sure likes to make fun of every time I fuck up.
Oh my god.
But it's a good encouragement though. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do better next time.
Yeah, of course.
Like it's a great humility center, which is especially what Ethan needs at the moment. But yeah, literally, yeah. Like he sure does that for me, and I do it for him too. Man, Lewis, you fuck up, and man, German, you fuck up. But yeah, I remember the creepypasta video at the moment. Yeah, that is still top quality. That video, fun fact, is actually still the video I took the longest on, even longer than Rennick Jamboree. Rennick Jamboree took only like 6 months to film. That video took like about 8 months to make. I started it in December, was on and off, and then I picked it up in June, and then finally finished it by July. I remember that video took a long time to make, but it was mainly because I was just taking breaks. I ate it all there and there because, oh my god, school's fucking me in my asshole. So yeah, that's what happened in Chocolate Rain. But yeah, that's like what you guys need to know. I guess the background info between Lewis and German over here, which even though it doesn't seem like of course we're like
we've been friends for like a long ass time. Yeah, and heck, yeah, like since like I'll never forget like the day I met him. You mind if I talk about it, right?
Yeah, sure. What the hell not?
Yeah, okay. So I'll never forget. Yeah, like I remember like the day before, like we had another friend who left the school, and then like the next day I think I'll never forget. The new kid in the class, and I'll never forget. You looked kind of scared and sighed. You had the red jacket and everything, and. Yes. I don't. Maybe it's because I saw how shy you were, but I remember I tried to be friends with you. I think.
Yeah, you did, of course. Which, if you guys don't know, Lewis has a bit of an Alzheimer memory when it comes to elementary.
Yeah, sadly, there's still a lot of stuff I remember from elementary, but I can.
But yeah, he's on point. He's on point. That's what happened that day. Yeah, I was confused. Like what you guys need to know is that my elementary before it was like a different elementary. Like what happened was that I changed neighborhoods, and then the neighborhood I am here now, that's where I met Brian and Ethan and Lewis here. Where that's where I met everybody. Because remember when I moved away, what you guys need to know about me is like a lot of the people I didn't know them anymore because like remember I was like a little ass kid. Like in fact I barely knew social media shit because like it's like 2014 where it's like, oh, what the hell's keeping contact with people? I don't know what's that. It was like olden times for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's where I met everybody, and yeah, of course Lewis and Daniel and everybody. Yeah. And what Lewis told that is the story. Where that's how he met me. Where I was just this kid who just came out of nowhere, a little late because it was like a September. I remember like August. I remember a fun fact about when I was there in my old school. I vividly remember I did not do very well because I was like too busy playing my game, Little Big Planet, and I just did not give a poop about classes, and I kept sleeping. And I remember it wasn't until like, yeah, we finally moved that. Yep, I started to care more because I knew I was moving, so that's why I didn't care too much about school. And then yeah, when I moved, yeah, I was like, oh, here I am in this new school. And yeah, I vividly remember as a kid, I was always confused in my old school because what you guys need to know is that for whatever weird reason, I remember they'd have the third graders and fourth graders together, and I vividly remember when I was like, I remember now, second and third graders, and I vividly remember because I was with them, I thought I was a third grader, but then it turned out, no, I was a second grader. So when I moved on to third grade, I thought I was going to be a fourth grader or some shit, but no, I was a third grader. And and that's the thing I appreciate about when I was in the school in this neighborhood where I call it the G school, where the G school, like, I appreciate that they were like, no, you're in third grade, and I was like, okay, got it, compared to my old school where it was like, oh, they're together, okay, but yeah, whatever, fuck you. So I was confused as hell when they finally rearranged it to make sense. So I was like, oh, am I a fourth grader? But they were like, no. And remember, all my best buddies were a grade higher than me, so I couldn't see them again. I was now with these weird new kids I've never seen in my life, and it didn't help. So yeah, by the time I left, it was like, if anything, I was happy because, like, my God, it was a confusing mess. So when I moved to this new school, everybody was encouraging. And in fact, yeah, I had a good time.
Yes.
Yeah, Aiden was this weirdo, but I mean, yeah, in general, it was good times. Yeah, that's what you need to know at the moment.
Yeah. And then recently, yeah, okay, so I guess briefly to also talk about middle school. Yeah, we were also in the same school, but, like, we weren't really in the same classes until, like, I guess, like, 7th and 8th grade, where he was sometimes, actually, no, I remember even, like, no, 6th grade, not at all. 7th and 8th, yeah, we were sometimes together. We were sometimes in classes together, but at the same time, we were also in separate classes. Heck, I remember 7th grade, it was, like, the first year where you went to regular classes.
Oh, yeah. In fact, you know, fuck it. Yeah, we're kind of retarded, so we kind of went to sped here and there.
Yes, we're sped kids, yeah.
We're the super sped kids.
Yeah. Except now in, like, high school, we're in regular classes, yeah, but, like, back then, we were kind of more sped kids.
Mm-hmm. Oh, especially in elementary.
Yes.
But yeah, I remember what you guys need to know is that if you've ever wondered how come Lewis didn't know this Ethan or Brian guy sooner, it was because so Brian and Ethan, I got to know them better because in middle school I got classes with them in 6th grade, and that's why like, remember, they were a grade higher than me. They were both 7th graders, and I was a 6th grader. But at that time, I didn't know where Lewis was. So eventually, when I got the switch to other class, I didn't do well 6th grade, and then 7th and 8th grade, I finally was in these other classes with this teacher. He was a dope teacher. I liked him. And yeah, that's where I finally got to talk with Lewis more, and of course that's where infamously, yeah, he showed my channels and I deleted a bunch of videos. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for that.
No, it's fine. If anything, it's my fault for not taking it right. But then again, I didn't know better at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then 8th grade. Now I think about it, yeah, 8th grade we're in a few classes together, and then after 8th grade we just kind of went our separate ways until until 2021, where he got back in contact with me in Discord. I remember he made like a whole group chat and everything where we're gonna play Among Us, and that was when I got to connect with German again, and that's also where I fully got to meet Ethan and Brian, and got to know them a little better, and here we are. The rest is history.
Yeah, any takeaway anybody needs to know is that I would confess that honestly I got to know Brian, Ethan, and hell, even Lewis a lot more better, even in the 2020s, in my opinion, because like back then, I feel like if I had to argue a reason why I didn't contact him right away after COVID was definitely probably because I just didn't know him enough. Like, oh hey, he was my best buddy in elementary, but it was like we never hanged out at the time, so like that's why I didn't get to know him better, because I remember as a dumb little shit, I thought, you have to see people only at school and in person. You can never message them or do any of that or call them. So I that's why I never got to know people a lot better. So eventually, yeah, here we are. We're in 2021. I finally was like, oh, I'm gonna reconnect contact with everybody. And I remember, like, especially what happened at the time. What you guys need to know, the interesting history. All you need to know for now, because this is a tier list, not a history video. But what you guys need to know for now is probably that that interesting. What happened was that, so you have these two group chats where it was like me with Brian and Ethan, and then the other one, Lewis, and all these other people that were like from middle school. And I remember, if you guys need to know, yeah, they're dead. Just don't worry about them. Literally, I mean, as much as we'd love to talk to them, or even bring them over here, but they're always dead and doing busy other shit. Yeah. Especially the G guy we were talking about earlier. Where, fun fact, he actually wanted to be a therapist, but then what happened was that
weird stuff happened with him. Yeah,
in particular, he moved away to like some bumfuck middle of nowhere. So, fun fact, I wanted to get him for one of our movies, but we couldn't. because he moved away. And then of course there was Aiden where yeah, he's just gone down his own rabbit hole. And then Daniel, where do I begin with him? But yeah, like in general, like we do love to talk and bringing them over here more often, but it's just like they're always busy doing their own shit. So because of that, how we ended up becoming a four was because we were the four that always was sticking together and always around. So as a result, that's why we're all here as the four boys, the Jorge Caballero Gaming boys. And yeah, like that's how the group chat came to be, where I remember I finally made this group chat where I wanted to bring everybody together, and as a result, the four of us would always be the ones together, and that's how Lewis got to meet the other two fat asses, and yep, here we are.
And that's why you see them in my videos, Iron Studios. So yeah.
Yeah,
and also mostly German.
And they were my friend, and they were my friends for a long time. Yeah, like Brian, I knew him like as long as Lewis, although actually by a year, because I remember, like Lewis, I knew him since 3rd grade, but then Brian, I met him when I was a 4th grader. No, I remember now. I actually did meet him when I was a 3rd. I don't remember. I actually now remember. It was 2015 when I met him. I remember now. I remember it was like late. I kind of don't remember. I remember. Yeah, I kind of remember now. Like it was either. It was either when I was a 3rd or 4th grader when I finally got to meet the guy. Like I remember what happened was I remember Brian was like a great hire for me, so I didn't get to meet him sooner. But remember, middle school was when I got to know him. Yeah. And then Ethan is actually the unique one where I met him in middle school. Like whereas these two I met them since elementary, but Ethan's the only one where I didn't meet him until middle school, because the thing about Ethan is that he went to a different elementary than us and he went to a different high school than us. And yeah.
Yeah, which funny enough, Brian and me were in the same elementary, and yet we never met each other.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Even during like times where I remember, like Jeremy even mentioned how like there's like this one time where Brian and me were like kind of right next to each other, but we never noticed each other.
Oh yeah, that would happen. Oh my god, yeah, they're literally close to each other, but they never meet. It's funny as hell. Oh my
yes, god. But yeah, is that it for I guess the introduction?
If anything, we pretty much gave ourselves a biography lesson.
Yeah, I don't mind doing that for every episode, actually. Every episode when I get, like, a new guy here, yeah, we have, like, a bit of, like, an introduction before we start.
You know, in fact, I actually led this. I actually would coin it as in-depth introductions.
Okay, yeah. Which, yeah, I'll definitely put timestamps if people are like, I just want to watch the tier list, so, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So today...
Oh, yeah, don't worry, guys. I got my shit ready down here.
Yeah, so this is actually a topic German picked himself. It was game controllers. Do you have anything interesting to say, I guess, about game controllers, the topic?
I guess I would add by this, where you know what's funny? It was all because Lewis, on like the server we have here, he posted a listing, and I remember he made a weird one, so I was like, I definitely want to, you know, and then that's how I remember the topic. So flash forward to this, where Lewis is like, so he talks about this, and I'm like, all right, I want to do it. I'm the first one. I want to do it right now. And I remember, I wanted to pick this topic because, you know what, he made this tier list. So I'm like, you know what, I have a few things to say. So that's how we're here. I guess I would add, I feel like if I were to add anything, I guess the starter would probably be like game controls. They're interesting. They're always wacky here and there, on and off, evolution or de-evolution. But I mean, hey, they're the controllers that connects us with the gaming experience. And for that, we have a lot to thank for. Yes. Excuse me, even if some controllers can be different from one another's. Looking at you, Xbox, with no goddamn gyro support. But yeah.
And they definitely go all over the place when it comes to quality, but then again, everything does, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, alright, we might as well start. So, are we even gonna rank, like, all the Atari ones?
You know, I actually can, because I've actually touched some of them.
The only one I've actually kind of touched was actually the first one.
Yeah, I've touched it, and I'm gonna say now, fucking D. It's stiff as fuck.
Yeah.
The reason why it's not an F is because at least the button works. But yeah, that piece of shit is so stiff. Like, oh my god, I hate it. I don't like it.
I think the reason why I ranked it higher, which I'm gonna mention in my tier list a bit, but I ranked it higher because I kind of viewed it as how it was for the time, and I'd say it's a bit interesting for when it came out, I guess. But then
I feel like, honestly, I'd have a hard ass time imagining I'll be honest, if I was like some 70s ass kid, I think even I would have been like, what, is this gaming? Nah, fuck this shit. I'm not playing none of those. I'm just going to play soccer.
I don't blame you. When it comes to retro gaming, Atari is the type of stuff I barely give a crap about.
Oh my
honestly.
god, yeah, it's bad. Literally, in fact, the only good one in my opinion is probably the Atari Jaguar.
Yeah, I mean that's the most interesting in my opinion.
I mean, fun fact, that's actually where Rayman got to start. Originally, Rayman was going to be made for the Atari Jaguar, but then they actually realized, okay, there's these upcoming consoles, the PlayStation, and that's why they made it better for the PlayStation. But they still released the very first version. If you don't know, it came out in early September. Which, okay, goddamn. Okay, sorry about that. What happened was my dad came in because about the whole GED thing. Just give me a bit. I gotta put this folder away. He was congratulating me and stuff about the thing and the thing and the corn pop and whatever the heck. You know what's funny? I should have warned you that was gonna happen, but I did not because man, they did take really long. Like I thought, oh, they'd come at like 6 or 5. No, they took surprisingly really long, and I wish I didn't slam my microphone. I think I might have fucked it up a bit. No, I think it's good.
You sound good. You sound good.
Okay, because I should definitely be a little more careful with my microphone. I kind of treat it like crap since I'm sorry, but it's like such bad quality. Okay, well, sorry for the gap there, everybody. Something important happened, but okay. As we were saying, yeah, I was saying that the fun fact about Atari Jaguar is that that's actually where Rayman came out, and in fact, he was intended to be an Atari Jaguar game. But what happened was that, yeah, PlayStation over here was like, oh, look at this new thing, and it's like, you know what, yeah, let's make the game better, and that's why the Atari Jaguar one is the worst one. Where I mean, it's the same game, but here's the thing: there's a few levels cut out, and there's also that the music is dog crap shit. It's terrible. And the music, like the beautiful CD music, is not there. It's on the PlayStation one. Oh god, no, I'm not Joe Biden. But I guess any funny things I would say is that the Atari Jaguar has famously. I don't remember how much the consoles itself, but I do remember the CD add-on barely works, and it's these days $1,000. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, these controllers, I want to be nice and just put them at not used. I've never touched them.
Okay, yeah. And even
the Atari Jaguar. Not even I have gone to touch. Actually, wait. I think I might have actually gone to touch some of these Atari. No, I never have. Jaguar. Nah, I never got to touch it. Sadly, I would love to though, because I actually think the thing looks actually pretty comfortable. The Pro one specifically though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I also
and of course, go ahead.
Sorry. I also want to quickly mention where the hell I even touched how I was able to touch this thing. I remember at TJ Maxx, they actually had a plug-in of that where everybody knows plug-ins where it's just a controller you plug on the TV. Yeah, John made a whole video about it. Go watch it. Don't worry, I'll cut this out. And I remember, I guess, my mom showed it to me, and I thought, oh, this looks really interesting. Yeah, I'll have it. And, I remember I played a bit, and I thought, yeah, I guess that's where video games started. And I think I barely touched that thing. I don't think I have that thing anymore. I don't know where it is. I think I lost it.
Well, I can tell you now, if it was a lot more loose, God, no. Literally, I'm telling you right now, I got to touch the real deal because Brian has one, and I remember I touched it, and yeah, my God, it's terrible. It's so stiff as fuck. It is bad. I don't like that damn thing.
Yeah, I think I remember the plug-in was actually a bit too loose, I remember. I don't know. I may have to touch the thing again, but I remember, it felt kind of...
Yeah, when they make those newer ones, they're a lot better. But I can tell you, the original, real deal, shit, garbage, trash. I don't like it.
I could definitely see that.
Okay, all of those. Yep. Okay, just put all the ones have not used because nope, I've sadly not gotten to touch them because I'm sorry, but not even the PP one. I'm sorry. Literally, we don't have that much gaming history down here because they're always sold out. Because remember, kids in South Florida, we only got one retro store.
Yeah. Even Famicom.
Alright, now we can talk about this stuff. Okay. So the Famicom controller, you know what? Fuck it, along with the NES one, I will say right now, they do their purpose, and for that, fucking C2. They're fine.
I honestly put NES a
I
bit
probably,
higher.
I probably, you know, here's the thing. I would probably have, you know, fuck, I put the NES higher because why the hell not? But I will say, you know, I got, no, I don't
sorry,
mean higher. I
sorry.
mean, yeah, that. There you go. I mean, I think I should have meant next to it. Yeah, that's what I meant. So here's what I would say about the controls. I actually got to use them. Heck, even the classic reproduction, and I still think it's bullshit that the Switch one is like $60. Like, who the hell wants to pay that much for a controller that barely has any buttons?
Yes.
But okay, so the Famicom one is a little bit better because it's round on the edge. But honestly, for me, even though the NES one you can clearly see is like above it, they're equal to me. They're tied. Like the Famicom one is rounded, but I mean outside of that, that's fine. A fun fact you gotta know is that the Famicom as itself is a very unique one because I feel like it's what started this whole thing where you have the Japanese one look completely different like the American one. And heck, I'll admit Sega in particular, I remember it was kind of crap. It was kind of bad where the consoles would have different names, and then there was also the fact that Saturn like okay, in America it's like completely black, but then in Japan you have all these colored buttons, and in fact some of those colored buttons would actually go on for the Dreamcast. But honestly, Nintendo definitely might be probably the NES has to be the most famous one out of all these. Where literally, okay, so the fun fact is that okay, so Famicom is like actually pretty damn tiny. In fact, the cartridges are just like they're just kind of like they're not that big. I wish if I were Brian, I probably would be able to pull out a cart for example, but I don't have.
I remember Brian actually showed me the one for Super Mario Brothers. I think it was
Yeah,
a
but, like,
bootleg though, but I don't know.
Yeah, it was probably yeah. Famicom is bootlegs. He has bootleg stuff for his Famicom, but okay. Yeah, his Famicom's also fake too. It's not an official one. I think an official one's pretty expensive because it's like old. But yeah, Famicom's are pretty tiny. But I remember when they brought it to America as the NES, a thing they did because you know the Atari crash. Where a thing about the Atari crash was that you had all these shitty, terrible games coming out, and that's why the game market crashed because you had all this crap with no quality. So that's why when Nintendo and Sega came over here, that's actually the birth of the seal of quality. Have you ever wondered why they have the seal of quality? That's actually why. It was one of the things they had to do because like they need a stamp of approval. Like, yep, this is good. You can play this game. This is quality. And it's ironic because we all know what happened with the Wii.
Yeah.
But anyways, at the time, yeah, and I remember one of the things they did was to make sure people knew this was a big boy and you could have it in the house. They actually intentionally made it look like it was like a VCR. Like they made the cartridges pretty big. They had that whole system where you had to slot it in, and that's actually the reason why we eventually got the later model, the NES remodel, Model 2. I don't remember the name of it, but the Model 2 where yeah, they actually slimmed it down and made it actually a lot more closer to a Famicom. And you know what, if I were to ever have an original NES, I probably would have that thing because it'd be not too much space. I actually remember, I think that thing's pretty damn tiny, but yeah, like I like that model a lot more, and yeah, like the NES, it's an interesting console. I must admit though, I don't have that much intrigueness to be like, oh my god, I'm gonna have all these 8-bit, 16-bit consoles in my house. Like, no, hell no, I don't want that shit. I'm good. I could just emulate it and just play them on like a Steam Deck. I don't need like an old console just play them. I mean Genesis seems cool though, but I mean I'm sorry, they take too much damn space. I'd rather just like Steam Deck.
Yeah.
But yeah. No streaming games though. Fuck that shit.
Yeah,
but
I don't have anything.
But you know what? Yeah, I think that's what I have to say about the NES controller in general. It does its job. Anything jokey, I would say though, is I mean, I guess it's funny that it has a better D-pad than some of them Switch controllers. But yeah.
Oh my god, you're so goddamn right. But yeah, I don't really have anything to add about that NES either. Yeah, I do think it's a pretty of course. There's a reason why it's one of the most iconic controllers because like for its time, It was actually a good controller, unlike whatever the hell these things were.
Oh yeah, like it did the job for sure. And yeah, the NES, Nintendo, even though you kind of make fun of them, I must admit they definitely did set the rules. They set the groundwork for gaming. Really,
they really did.
Standard. Dogbone, I would probably put in high C tier because here's the thing, kids. What you guys need to know is okay. So C tier is just like it does the job. Pretty good. Like really low C tier is be like it's kind of poop. But I'm talking like if it's like higher than C tier, it's gonna be like really really good.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Like just to set the standard. And yeah, Dogbone, I actually prefer the Dogbone. It's a much nicer controller. I was able to get a taste of it because Brian had it, and yeah, it's a nice controller. If I had to joke about it though, I guess it's interesting that this is the closest we're ever going to get to Nintendo being Sega because it does that whole thing where you have the buttons to the side.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But yeah, actually, I think it's kind of like the. Actually, no, I take that back. I think I remember. It's like the diamond actually, but without the 2 extra buttons. Which yeah, Nintendo also invented the diamond layout. But yeah, I think that's what I remember. And then the NES Advantage, I barely got to use that thing, but just for poops and craps, put it above the dog bone. That thing's funny. Even if Ghostbusters 2 wasn't a very good movie.
Oh my god, I forgot they used that, which I still have not seen that movie.
I've seen it. It is okay. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I will give it this, though. At least it's a little more original than even Afterlife.
Yeah, and at least it seems more like an... Okay, I forgot. Yeah, you know, I'm not even going to continue that. I was going to mention the 2016 movie and how I don't like that movie.
Honestly, I'll be honest. I think I prefer 2016 over 2 because 2 was just a rehash of the first movie. I don't like it at all. Super Famicom and Super Nintendo. If I were to give a reason why they're separate, what you need to know, Lewis, is okay. So, have you ever held a Super Nintendo controller?
I think I have probably before. I think maybe at Brian's house, I probably held one.
Okay.
And yeah, I do love these controllers. Yeah.
Okay, so what you need to know is this. So the reason why they're separate is, okay, here's actually the deal. It's not even just because they're colored buttons. In fact, the buttons are actually different because what you need to know is that so you know how the purple button has like rounded and then the pink ones are like kind of like indented, like you can put your thumb in there, like it's like concurved, you know? That's because like the Super Famicom doesn't have that. All the buttons are rounded, like they're like a regular old button, all rounded.
Interesting.
It's actually like they're actually different. Like in fact, I actually figured this out when I was looking at them. Like yeah, I that's how I learned about that. Yeah. I will admit I am a very American-ass motherfucker, so I call them Super Nintendo and NES. I will never call them Famicom because I'm not that much of a fucking weeb. I know
Same here.
I like my girls and all that shit, but I'm sorry, but I will never ever call them Famicom. Hell, even the Genesis, I'm never gonna call it the Mega Drive. I prefer Genesis. It's better.
I'm sorry. Genesis and Super Nintendo are just it's just way more iconic names that it's like, okay, we're just gonna call them that.
Oh my god, I love the Super Famicom and the Weeb game. I love the one with the girl.
Yeah, literally, I'm sorry, but I just prefer. I'm not gonna call them Famicom. I know that's what it was called in Japan and even Europe, but I'm not gonna call it that. Like, yeah, I just prefer Super Nintendo. It's just a better name. If I were to rank it, though, I mean, even though I would personally just rate just Super Nintendo, if I were to rank both, I kind of prefer the Super Famicom a bit because I actually kind of prefer the rounded buttons for all of them. Like, I prefer that. Like, not even like that. This SNES is the only control I can think of where they had the buttons be different. Where it's like the bottom buttons are different and the top buttons are different. That's the only console that I've ever done that, I think. Not even like I mean, of course there's Sega, but I mean, at least the Sega buttons were like kind of like they had a thing going on. But Super Nintendo was just like, oh, I feel like it. Like Sega, it's just like, oh, buttons are smaller and the buttons are bigger, but not even. But like they never made it where it's like, oh, they have like a different texture. But like a different yeah, you get what I'm getting, but saying.
Yeah.
But where I would put them, I kind of want to put them in really high C, but at the same time, you know what, low B.
Okay, yeah, I was kind of hoping they'd be in B, but yeah.
Yeah, low B. Super, you know what? Yeah, I think I prefer Super Famicom. I kind of actually prefer the, not even the colors. I actually like the colored buttons. I actually like that.
Yeah, me too. They look nice.
But I kind of prefer the curved over the. I will say now, it's not like I hate the Super Nintendo. In fact, I feel like if you let me use it for a long time, I probably would get used to it. But honestly, I prefer the more very Super Famicom, especially because like the controllers would later on, you know, controllers would be doing that all the damn time.
Yeah.
That and also when you look at it with the N64, you actually get where the colors came from because when you were an American, you're like, oh, where did all the purple go?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing I noticed, where you'll notice that for whatever reason, a lot of the colors may not make sense in America, but that's because the colors came from the last console in Japan, like, especially Sega Saturn and Dreamcast, were the Japanese one in Japan, and had the colors that actually would be used in the Dreamcast one. And Nintendo, too, where SNES, those colors would be on for the Nintendo 64. Like, I didn't realize that until 2022, where it was like, oh, now I get where the colors came from. But yeah, Super Famicom, I prefer it because like all the buttons are consistent. And then Virtual Boy. Sadly, I have not gotten to use it, but I will say enough from what I've seen, and I think I might have gotten to held it once. Yeah, just to be nice, I'm gonna just have it have not used. But if I were to put it and have used it, I actually would put it in B. I'm pretty sure that'd be a very comfortable control, like grips and all that. Like, oh my god, that's a good boy. It's almost like the prototype control of the Nintendo 64.
I'm gonna be honest. The Virtual Boy is kind of a console I kind of find interesting just from the design. I feel like the one thing that always made me really intrigued is the fact that, like, okay, so modern controllers, you have two joysticks, right? Like, yeah, you know, like 3D shit. The Virtual Boy has 2 D-pads, and I really don't think I've ever seen a controller like that.
I do remember a lot of games do actually put them to use. I think even Wario Virtual Boy did. Anything that video that came out recently where, oh my god, it's finally Virtual Boy's finally on 3DS, is that I actually didn't realize that Wario Land actually takes use of 3D. In fact, now that I know that, I definitely would love to look into seeing if I can play more Virtual Boy games in 3D, which I'm going to say right now with everybody, I have actually played some Virtual Boy games on emulation, of course, because playing at real deal is pretty expensive these days.
And also...
especially since I think a reason why I didn't do... I remember I learned that a reason why I didn't do well was that Miyamoto actually didn't approve of it, the console.
Oh my goodness.
He didn't give a seal of approval. But as you were saying...
Yeah, and also, why the hell would you want to play Virtual Boy do you really want to get blind with that thing?
Yes. Honestly, if anything, you know, if you want to know, I actually play those games in white because, like, I like them more. But it's an interesting console though because it's actually the only Nintendo console where it was actually 32-bit, and as a result, some of those games have like some incredible sprites, especially Wario Land for Virtual Boy. I really love that game. In fact, my only complaint is that it's actually bloody short. Like, literally, if anything, it's actually to a point where I love that game so much that I kind of want to say I like it more than Wario Land 2 and 3. But Wario Land 2 and 3 are not only really long, but also have a bunch of stuff to make fun of, make up for the fact that it's an 8-bit game, and to a point where they could be console games. They're really incredible. Like, I played those. If you guys don't know, I played those Wario Land games. I love them. In fact, they're some of the first games I ever put on backlog. And when I finally got a backlogged account. And yeah, like, I love those games. They're incredible. One of my favorite though out of the first 2 is definitely Wario Land 1 and Virtual Boy. Definitely Virtual Boy. That game is incredible. In fact, I would love to replay it now that I know that it's better in 3D. I wish I had a 3D TV. Oh my god, imagine getting a Sony 3D TV just for Virtual Boy.
Oh my god.
Okay. I would love to replay Wario Land Virtual Boy in 3D. One game I've never played fully, but I would love to, especially because it's not that long of a game, is actually the very first Shin Megami Tensei game that ever got localized in America, and is actually pretty expensive. Jack Brothers. I've always wanted to play that game. I actually played a bit of it back in 2020, but I stopped because I started playing Final Fantasy VII or something. But like, yeah, I've always wanted to play. I've always wanted to play Jack Brothers, and it was the only 2 games I ever got for the Virtual Boy, on emulation. Like, Wario Land and Jack Brothers. I should definitely play that game at some point. That game's awesome. But yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's it for Virtual Boy. Now.
Yeah, we're done. Now, time for the controller. I actually have. Yes, I'm actually getting it right now.
And the controller I've actually held one time, or a few times.
Oh yeah, Lewis actually got to held this thing. This is my blue controller, which Lewis doesn't see this because, yeah, this is my webcam. So, this is my blue controller. I've had this since 2018, I think it was. What happened was that I had a trip, and I went to Canada for a bit. And I actually got this thing because I had a retro store up there, and yep. This is probably the best N64 controller I've ever held, and also the best one I've ever owned, because I vividly remember, before this, I'd always have N64 controllers with a bad stick when it came to official, so this is the first time I got a stick that was, like, tight as hell, and to this day, I've never gotten rid of it, because this is, like, still my favorite N64 controller to use, no matter what. I love this baby. This is great. And yeah, the N64 controller... Yeah, I will talk about this. Even though people complain about it, I will say right now, I think it's not that bad of a controller. Which one would I prefer? Yeah, definitely PlayStation, of course, duh. But honestly, I think this is not that bad of a controller at all. If anything, they were smart with if anything, like, they wanted to where, you could switch your hands from where you want to put it. Like, you're gonna put your right hand here, you're gonna put your right hand there, you're gonna put the left hand there. Actually, wait, what the fuck Okay, I'm sorry. For a moment, I actually had the left hand on the D-pad and the right hand on the stick. The only game that ever used this was actually, I remember, it was GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. Those were the only two games that actually let you use that setup. It was always this way. Okay, but yeah, now I'm remembering. Okay, like yeah, games would use the D-pad and L button, and then there'd be games with the L, the Z, and stick, and yeah, it was great. Now, is it kind of a little clunky way of going about 3D? Honestly, you know, I don't blame Boy because, you know, in fact, like, that's kind of like, why not just, I don't know, do what PlayStation did? But I mean, to be fair, that's when 3D was starting out, so you know what, nobody knew how you do a controller right, even though Sega literally came in there. We're not there yet, but Sega made a controller that's, like, better, actually. Actually, yeah, I like that baby a lot. But yeah, and also PlayStation 2, of course. Oh boy, they made a modern-ass controller in 1997, I think it was. 97 or 8? 8, I think it was 8. 8. Yeah, 8. Yeah, 98. That's when they made that big boy. And yeah, 97. Yeah, I don't even remember. I think 97 was when they made that new model, and then late in that year. Oh, it was 97. It was 97. I think I remember now. Yeah, I don't even know. Okay, but yeah, Nintendo 64, honestly, I like the controller. It's not that bad. Now, is it better than GameCube? No, but honestly, I think it's not the worst controller ever as people make it out to be. I will never forget, though, when when my cousin was playing this game, she had her hand on the stick and her hand on the right, and I remember even Lewis did that, and I was like, no, Lewis, that's not how you hold it. But yeah, I remember that. That's funny shit. What would you have to say, Lewis, about the N64 controller?
This was definitely a controller where... Okay, where you want to put it?
Oh, ranking, not fucking high B. I actually like that thing.
Okay. Now, this was a controller, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of joined in the hate wagon when it came to that controller. Like, when Scott the Woz hated it, I just kind of just mindlessly just agree with him. Like, okay, yeah, that controller is shit. And for a while, like, yeah, that was a controller, like, I thought was kind of stupid. And I never really, you know, had, like, an open mind of what the controller really was for the time. Nowadays, especially ever since Holy the Controller, I could definitely see why the controller is like that. And why, you know what? I actually like the controller for what it is. Is it a controller I would like to use all the time? Hell no, probably not. But at the same time, like, you know what? If you're playing like N64 crap, I still feel like, yeah, that controller would work really well for that. Especially, I feel like what really makes me appreciate that controller a bit more, especially playing with something like Mario 64, where I'll say right now, playing Mario 64 with a Pro controller on Switch is an absolute bitch. I don't recommend it. Oh yeah, in
fact, a thing I forgot to talk about was literally, I feel like the only problem I really have with some of these controllers where it's like they're really out there is that when you emulate it, it's a bitch with the monitor controller.
It is!
Because, like,
oh my god.
Like, okay, so like, we all know, like in particular, the two famous ones is definitely N64 and Sega games. For Sega games, it's like they use the 3 buttons and also, of course, the 6 buttons. And remember, controllers don't do that shit anymore, so as a result, it's like, oh my god, it's a pain in the ass. Which is why when you play it on real hardware, it's not as bad. And then N64 is another one too, where even Nero made a whole video about the N64 controller. Like, that's how bad it is. Where literally, it's like literally, if you try to play that setup, it's a pain in the butt. Like, in fact, later, I'm gonna be honest, when you play some N64 games, you have to do this shit where literally you have to remap everything, because like, here's the problem: a lot of 3D games, yeah, they play people. Automatically, the emulation has it set up where the C stick is the C buttons, but then there's fighting games that use the C buttons, so it's like, you have to remap every single fucking game. And it's like, yeah, it's good that there's actually options where you can have it automatically saved, but that's like when you know that, yeah, there's definitely an appeal and a good investment in like what? Okay, but like, yeah, in general, like a good investment in and controller dedicated to N64 or older games. But yeah.
Yeah, which, if you're wondering what game we played as on, I remember, yeah, it was Mario Party 3. We had like a Mario Party 3 game and crap.
Oh yeah, never forget that recording. You can barely hear anybody.
Yeah, but alright, yeah, N64 nowadays, you know, I agree with the placement of B. I do think, for what it is, it's a good controller. Once again, is it a controller I would love to use? Honestly, not really. But for N64 crap, like if we ever want to play like an N64 game, real hardware, sure, yeah. So yeah, B tier, I think it's a good list.
And for anyone arguing about why did I put it over SNES, here's the thing: it has more buttons. That's why. Fuck you.
Yeah. All right. Now, the Holy Grail.
GameCube. I kind of want to put it in S, but at the same time, that implies that it's just universal for every single bloody game, so I want to be at least fair and just put it at A. Hey, still
Okay.
pretty damn high. I'm just gonna say right now, that's still a compliment. So GameCube, I will say this: GameCube is a pretty good controller. But if anything, I have to be honest and say right now that GameCube, even though it's a good controller, I can't deny that. I'm sorry that just because it's good doesn't mean it's good for every single game. In fact, I feel like a story I would tell is probably the fact that I will never forget when I tried Fortnite for the very first time on Nintendo Switch. I played it with the GameCube controller.
Really? I
And
never
man,
knew
and
this.
And man, did I not have a fun time, because here's the thing, GameCube controllers are old, so they don't have gyro, and I remember it was not fun at all.
Oh my god, yeah.
The only games I actually was able to have a good time with it though was actually Sonic Mania. Like, a thing you gotta know back when I was a Switch player, which yeah, surprise. Even though I'm known as the Switch hater, even though I don't know why I say that, because I'm pretty sure nobody knows who the hell I am. But what I mean is that even though now these days I'm like, I don't have a Switch, I kind of don't like the Switch. I used to be a big fanboy of the Switch, and I used to have one. And I remember I would try to use GameCube controllers with every single game, because I remember the Switch actually lets you to use GameCube controllers for whatever the hell you want. And I remember I would use the GameCube controllers for here and there. But I will must say that here and there, it's like, even though it's a good controller, I can't deny that, honestly, I feel like the best games that really use it is probably GameCube games. Like, literally, that's what it was made for a GameCube.
Yeah.
Now, is it a good controller for Smash Bros? Honestly, yes. And honestly, I actually do like using it for when I play Mario Kart Wii. But outside of Nintendo games, I must admit, it's not the best controller ever. In fact, I actually prefer the more newer and modern controllers, especially PlayStation 4 and Xbox Series X, but we're not there yet. But in general, the GameCube as a Nintendo controller, definitely one of the best controllers Nintendo ever made. I feel like the only problems it has is probably not only is there for whatever reason no other Z button on the other side.
Yeah, that's so weird to me, especially when you want to when you're trying to configure the controls on Dolphin, where there's only one Z button. Like, I don't know, I find that always really weird. I found that.
Yeah, that, and another thing that actually makes it even a little more older is also the fact that which actually, it's interesting to think the Z one actually came from the Nintendo 64 controller. I actually keep forgetting about that.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, was that another thing that also holds it back from being, universal, is that the buttons are a little behind the analog sticks are a little behind by not being clickable.
Yeah, oh my god, I never realized that.
And by the way, PlayStation had that going on since 1997. Like, when they introduced the analog sticks, they were the ones who pioneered the clickable analog sticks. Like, that's not even Sega ever did it. So yeah, Nintendo was behind. It wasn't until the Wii U when they finally made clickable analog sticks. And then as a trade-off, no fucking triggers, but we're not there yet. That's another thing. GameCube controller has triggers, and they got rid of it like pansies. And in fact, we're not there yet. But if you ever guys want to see later why I don't like the Pro Controller, that's definitely a big one. Definitely no triggers. But yeah.
What would
you have to say?
GameCube, I say, I really like GameCube. Hell, you know what? I kind of would argue to put it in S tier, but I don't exactly blame you, since once again, you do make a good point of how it's not exactly a universal controller to use. First off, I'll admit, I was actually kind of surprised you actually had a good time playing this with Mania, because I remember this is not the best controller to use for 2D games.
No, it's because I use the analog stick. I don't use the D-pad.
Oh, okay. Alright.
And it's funny, because these days I play 2D games with the D-pad, but remember, with the GameCube, don't use the D-pad for anything outside of menus.
Oh my god, yes, the D-pad. Oh my god. Yeah.
You know what's funny? In fact, it was actually to a point where when I was at Brian's house, I remember as a kid, I was like, hang on, is the D-pad the exact one from the Game Boy Advance? And I actually did figure out that I remember I took both of them apart, and it's actually not the same D-pad, it's different.
Oh.
Specifically the original Game Boy Advance model. But yeah, I remember the D-pads, they were so similar to me.
I actually never realized how similar they are until you just pointed that out. But yeah, I just think it's a really cool controller, and I really like how unique it is. Except, I wouldn't really say it's better than the modern controllers we have nowadays, where I feel like they're way more universal, and you can use them for anything. As for GameCube, I feel like if it had a few more stuff like clickable buttons, another shoulder button, and hell, even a better D-pad, I think it would have been honestly a really, really good ass controller. Then again, there's also the Bluetooth GameCube controller, not the Waper, the current one they're making for the Switch. And I'm pretty sure that one's also pretty good, but it's not.
I think those are okay, but I don't know about them. Which I'm actually holding it right now. And yeah, I remember this has good grips and everything. This is nice. Yeah, the C-stick and shit. Yeah, this is a
Yes.
good controller. In fact, I think now that I'm looking at this, what I forgot to bring up is something I actually did with my controller because, I actually have a few, because, I like to take apart shit and whatever the hell, was that a thing I actually remember, that a thing you gotta know about Giga controllers is that, so the older ones, they had this wire. No, they had this, like, I don't know what you call it, a metal thing. So like there was this metal where it was like you put it for the shoulder pads, and the old controllers had it. But then but ever since Smash Bros, when they make these new ones, they forget that part. Like that, it's never in there. And I remember before I sold off my Wavebird, I actually put those because that Wavebird actually used to be my main controller. We're not there yet though, but I remember I put those silver stuff and I put it in here. There's probably a video about it I remember, but yeah, like I remember I actually put those in there. So that's why the triggers are a lot better. Which yeah, I still find it stupid that. Are you kidding me, Nintendo? You got rid of the triggers? What's wrong with you?
Oh my goodness. Especially like I think what makes it worse is once again 3D All Stars, where like I use 3D All Stars as an example because I feel like it's a good example of just how you really need like the exact controllers for these games, specifically honestly all three games. I think the reason for Sunshine is because like it uses the triggers. The triggers are like a really important part of Sunshine, where like you're able to like adjust how you want to use, how you're able to like use
yes,
like
the flood,
yes, yeah. And also like Luigi's Mansion. So like I find it weird. Yeah, Nintendo just kind of gave up on the idea of triggers.
But to be different.
My goodness, yeah. But yeah, I think that's honestly all I have to say about GameCube. It's a controller I would love to use more. I do plan to get my own if I ever could, especially for Switch crap. But I wouldn't really exactly use this for like any other crap like Fortnite or like I don't know. Like honestly, I probably would never use this for like shooters or stuff because it's not the best controller. I feel like the best use. I don't know if you agree with this, but I think I feel like if you use it for like just like a regular 3D platformer, it wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think I used it for 3D platforms before. It's not that bad.
Yeah. So.
Although the ones I use gyro though, out the window.
Oh boy, yeah. Don't use it for Splatoon. You're screwed.
Right. I actually used it for Splatoon before, man. I forgot. I actually got raped. Oh my god, I remember. I actually remember. I was a kid that do whatever, and I remember I tried to get controllers with anything. I played it with anything, and I remember I played it for a bit with Splatoon here and there too, in particular. And I didn't do well. Which, if you guys want to know how old I was one of those kids that would play Splatoon 2. And it's crazy to think that game's outdated now, apparently.
Oh my god, yeah. And I guess one more thing is that this is also probably the best controller to use if you're ever a Wii owner, because you're able to use it for your Wii and not have to deal with that motion control bullshit.
Oh yeah, even if Sonic Riders was the only one where Sonic Riders Free Gravity was the only one where it only used the GameCube controller, but not the classic controller, and as a result, when you played on Wii U, you're screwed.
Yes.
And for whatever reason on the box, it doesn't tell you could use GameCube controllers. I vividly remember that.
Even though the last game was on GameCube, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to talk about Free Riders because I feel like I'd rather talk about that game in another time because I have a lot.
Zero Gravity.
Yeah, Zero Gravity. Yeah, I have a lot to say about that game if I ever do a Sonic tier list. Oh my god. But
alright, and the Wavebird, if you're wondering, literally just below the GameCube controller. I actually have a lot to say.
Okay.
So Wavebird actually used to be my main controller. If you guys wanted to know, back in the heyday of retro gaming in 2018, GameCube was a little bit affordable. Twilight Princess was just $60, and so on and so forth. Like, games were affordable. Sunshine actually is surprisingly a game where it was really expensive, but I actually went down probably because of 3D All-Stars. I remember it used to be like 80 or 70, but now it's like 60 or 50 or even 40. But the Wavebird, I remember, Wavebird now is sadly pretty goddamn expensive, as much as a modern controller for a PS5.
Yeah.
But back then it was only $40 or $30. Like GameCube controllers weren't as sought after. I mean, they were still expensive, but it wasn't as bad as now, where it's actually kind of worse. Okay, but the Wavebird used to be my main controller. What made me stop using it though is I have to be honest, Nintendo I never really had a problem with Nintendo because the cable length never really, like the cables never got tangled as bad as like Sega or even PlayStation.
Yeah.
So GameCube I never had a problem at all with the controller. So, and heck, even wired I actually kind of just preferred it. Like it's better wired, and heck the response there's no delay or anything. It's not that bad. and there's Rumble. Wavebird is honestly not that bad of a controller. In fact, I would always use that controller back in the day. Like, I would use it all the time when I had hangouts with Brian and Ethan playing GameCube games and Wii games. I always would use it. What stopped it, though, was just, well, like, yeah, like, I didn't mind just using the wider controller. It wasn't that bad at all. So that's why I stopped using it. The Wavebird is still not that bad of a controller, in my opinion. In fact, it's still a pretty good controller. Yeah, sure, when you're a competitive Smash Bros. Player, you're going to throw it in the garbage. But outside of that, it's not that bad of a controller at all. I do think it's pretty stupid, though, that it's pretty pricey now. Especially what doesn't help is that for the same price, you could get a Bluetooth mod and play GameCube games with any controllers you want on official GameCube hardware.
Yeah.
But yeah, do look into that. It's cool. But yeah, the Wavebird, good controller, and especially incredible for its time, because what you guys need to know is that before it, you had all these controllers that that would try to be wireless, but they use the TV remote sensors, so you had to point at the sensor to get it to work. But Wavebird was the first one to use like TV waves, like infrareds, like in general, like yeah, just a wave. So that's why it was called Wavebird, because it used channel waves. But yeah, that's how it works. And yeah, that's the Wavebird. It's not that bad.
Yeah. I don't really have anything to say about the controller since I've never touched it. Besides, I do think the design is a little funny, but but for the time,
Trust me, when you hold it, it's literally the goddamn same.
Yeah, it's most likely the same. But I do find some fascination with the controllers. Yeah, it's like one of the first wireless controllers ever made. So yeah, I do find it interesting. But still, though, I don't really have anything to add. So yeah. All right. Oh boy.
Screw it. Put her fucking below the dog bone. I literally was thinking, screw it, just put it below the dog bone.
Now, I will say, you know what? Do you want to go or should I go?
Fuck. Since you're the guy who actually owns a Wii, go ahead with it. Go ahead.
Yes. All right. So, I guess what's interesting is that this is technically my first ever video game controller. Since one of my first ever consoles was the Nintendo Wii. I grew up with that damn thing. I still love the Wii. It's a good console, but man, the Wii remote is so goddamn weird because I love it and hate it at the same time. So there are games I feel like that use it. Okay, you know what? I'll talk about frick. I'm gonna also rank Nunchuck a little higher.
Oh no, that I actually would put it like low, really low B tier.
Alright, that's fair. Yeah, I agree with that. But
I actually like the Wiimote Nunchuck. It's not that bad, except for games I'd freaking use it all the damn time.
Yes, but okay, but like single Wii remote, no. Okay, Wii Sports, I don't mind actually. I actually like using the Wii remote for Wii Sports and all of that, especially Wii Sports Resort. I definitely recommend Wii Sports Resort if you guys still own the Wii. It's a really fun game. But I'm gonna be honest. Like, I feel like if you really are into hardcore games and shit, I don't really think anybody would give a crap about just the single Wii remote. Like, I don't think anybody would ever want to use just a goddamn single Wii remote, especially if that's ever like an option. Like, for example, Mario Kart Wii. Sure, the tilting is interesting and a novelty, but just use the goddamn nunchuck, man.
Oh, yeah. If anything, I will say this. The only reason why it's low is, here's the thing. We're talking about it in terms of just regular old controls. As that, nope.
Yeah,
crap.
no, hell no. I'm sorry. Secret Rings cannot convince me that this could work as a controller. Frick no.
Wait, who's trying to convince you?
Sonic and the Secret Rings.
Oh, yeah, okay. Like, I'm gonna say right now, I will say now, as its own thing and whatever the hell Hoopy do, honestly, it's not that bad. Actually, I don't mind it at all. But the thing is that I'm sorry, but literally, as a controller, it's not that very good. Literally, playing it with Nintendo Land, Nintendo stuff is fine. It's fine. Alright?
Yes.
But trying to make it, force it, and do all the hoopy-doopy, it's not that good.
But
I will say, though, right now, it still has its own appeal, and I actually do like it. I do like it, but doesn't mean I want to play every single game with it? No.
it does have a nice design, I will admit, but yeah, it's not a controller I like to use. It's not a controller I like to use that much. I will say, though, I don't think it's that bad to use for 2D games, though, because I remember we did use it for New Super Mario Bros. Wii.
I mean, yeah, of course, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that it's not the worst thing ever, and I'm fine with playing it with games here and there, but I'm just saying that in terms of, like, a regular controller, nope, poop.
Yeah, hell, I think for me, it'd probably be the last option, honestly, because I feel like nowadays, if you ever want to play, like, yeah, any, like, types of games, especially if you have, like, PC and stuff, the Wii would probably be the last thing you pick, especially because you need a sensor bar for that crap, which I might as well just get my Wii remote just to show.
You know what's funny? I actually was showing my Wiimote. But yeah, I have all these black ass Wiimotes.
Yes, this one is the first Wii remote I have. I own a red Wii remote, so this is why my Wii remote's red. And heck, I will say using it with the cover thing. I keep forgetting what this thing is called.
Okay, I remember. It has an official name, but everyone calls it the Wii condom.
Yes, because honestly, I didn't want to call it that, but I forget. I'm calling it the Wii condom. I know it's inappropriate, but I don't care. This is not for kids. But yeah, the Wii condom. It's actually fun to use it with the Wii. Yeah, the Wii.
Yeah,
condom.
It's literally you need it. You need it. If you play Wii stuff without it, it's bad.
Yeah, it's also like a really comfortable controller, especially using the the thing that helps you to hold the Wii remote.
Yeah, that's why I said it's not that bad of a controller. It's just that when you play for regular old games, no, it's not that good at all. That's why they invented the classic controller, but we're not there yet.
Oh yeah, we're not there yet. And Wii remote and nunchuck. I don't own a nunchuck. I gave all my nunchucks to him, and I don't know where the red one is. I remember I gave away that one a long time ago because that one had drift actually.
Yeah, I remember he told me that, it was fucked up. Which any fun facts I would have given about the Wiimote is that, if you guys don't know, when they made the Wii U, a thing I learned just because from buying Wiimotes is that they actually changed it up. So, like, for the original one, it was all Wii, completely Wii, and all, like, rectangularly, kind of like the console itself. But when they made the Wii U, they actually rounded it. And then the reason why I'm showing this is that I have two from Lewis that... Oh, no. I have two from Lewis that are like the original ones. And then I have two that I bought on eBay that are rounded. That are like, this is for the Wii U. Like, that's a thing I found very interesting. And this camera won't probably show it because it's really bad, but it says Nintendo. And then the original one has Wii. So, that's the fun fact that I wanted to share about these two boys.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. Yeah. Especially because I'm pretty sure the one I have... I'm pretty sure it came out in like the later year of the Wii because I remember like there were.
No, it was still Wii. It was still Wii. Yeah.
No. I know. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this the Wii U one. I'm saying like I remember like the bundle for like the red.
No bundle. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was like more like Wii thing. I think it was like 2010 probably.
Yeah, I was saying that, like it came out in like the late year of the Wii. Like I remember it came out during Mario's 25th anniversary. Actually, I think.
Yes, that's the bundle you got.
Yes, and it came with New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which I actually lost that copy, and I had to get another one from GameStop when they actually used to sell Wii games. Remember that?
And they sadly don't, and you know what? I remember we always had arguments about this, but no, more like conversations about this, and I'll tell you what, literally because of this stuff, it's so freaking hard to get Wii games in South Florida. I swear to God. Like, literally, back then, when you had GameCube and all that, it was so easy. Oh my God. Like, no. Wii. Back then, when they sold Wii and 7th generation stuff, it was so easy to get games. But now we have to go to like the old store, freaking go on eBay to get this stuff. Like it's really hard. Oh my God. Like it's like you got to go on a hunt. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, and especially because I got a lot of controllers from them and games, especially good quality games, like in mint condition. But the Wii. Oh my God. Yeah, the Wii controller is not that bad. I actually like it. I'm just saying that outside of the Wii, it's not really good for anything else.
Yes, and Wii Nunchuck is a little bit more is a little bit more universal, I guess. Like, you know what? I
like the Nunchuck. I always like the Nunchuck.
Yeah, the Nunchuck is pretty cool, and heck, I actually kind of prefer using this when it comes to like kind of like some of like the 3D platformers. Nintendo Wii has, especially like Mario Galaxy, where I always argue this, where like, I kind of agree with Scott the Watch, where like, using the Wii Remote and Nunchuck is way better just using a Pro Controller, since it was built for this game thing. It's like Mario 64. It was supposed to be, it was built with the N64 controller in mind, so it's a bit weird playing with like a Mario controller.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, sure. I guess it is kind of a shame that the Wii and Nunchuck don't have like a camera joystick, which leads to like playing some games on emulation kind of weird since you don't have a camera. Especially with also games on Wii like Epic Mickey. That I remember that game did not have a good ass camera, which I'm happy they're making that remake. So yeah,
are you mean the camera as in the sensor bar?
No, like the camera in game, like moving the camera in game.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you mean now.
Yeah, but yeah, Wiimote and Nunchuck, not a bad setup, honestly. I like that setup. Even if I will say sometimes with that setup, okay, yeah, motion control can be bullshit at times, which is why I tend to rather go with a GameCube controller. Still, though,
Yeah.
I would not make fun for anybody for ever using Nunchuck and Wiimote. So yeah.
I guess any fun facts I would give since we're in this 2006 period is that one, if you had a Wii Color that wasn't white, it can't play DVDs on Homebrew. Two is that I used to have a copy of Twilight Princess, but I sold it off like a dumbass, and now it's like $120, and I actually regret selling it off, especially since I like Midna. And another random fact was that Super Paper Mario. The only reason why I haven't gotten really like bothered with playing that game a lot more is literally because. I remember I tried it out with the Wiimote and I was like, I hate this, and I didn't play it. But you know what? Now these days, I would actually love to finally properly play a game. But okay, you know, for I was about to say I don't have it, but then I'm like, I do have a copy. It's literally right there. I'm dumb. It's because you don't have the inserts. But yeah, that's what I was saying. And yeah, is that it about the Wiimote? Because yep, it's a classic controller time.
I've never
Which
used
fun fact? I had a classic. I will never say right now. I never had an original classic controller. I always had classic controller pros, but sadly I don't have one at the moment to show you guys. So yeah, and classic controller to be nice, I put it actually above the Nintendo 64 because I've actually gotten to use it because Brian brought one time.
Oh.
I think I might have. I'm trying to remember. You know what? Okay, I'm gonna put it in half not used. I'm sorry. I will say right now, if we got like a combination of the Pro Controller where it also still kept the analog triggers, I actually would have it a lot more higher. But Classic Controller Pro, okay, high B tier.
I actually have always liked the design of this, probably because, yeah, I'm the PlayStation guy, so I tend to like the PlayStation layout, but I've actually always liked this design for the Pro Controller, which, yeah, you can talk about it first.
I will say right now that, okay, I will say this right now that, you know what, the thing I do appreciate about the Classic Controller Pro is I do appreciate that because they were at least able to make the grips a little distant, it's not as cumbersome, because the thing you gotta know about those sticks that I actually learned about from, you know, modding GameCube controllers and putting sticks in them is that nunchuck sticks are actually taller than the GameCube sticks. Like, that's the truth. They're actually taller. So when you put them in a GameCube controller, it's gonna feel a little weird. It's actually not that bad, but it's still weird. So like that's the heads up if you ever like do that stuff. And Classic Controller Pro is not that bad of a controller actually. Like, you know, I actually like it. Now, which one do I prefer? Definitely fucking GameCube without a doubt. Honestly, I prefer it all the goddamn way. But Classic Controller Pro does the job, and honestly, playing for Virtual Console, Hooba Dooba, is not that bad. Even if you actually wanted to know, when I had a Wii and played Virtual Console games, I actually would use the GameCube controller instead, because it's just better. But yeah, the Classic Controller Pro is not that bad of a controller, but oh dear God, I definitely prefer the other Nintendo controllers, even the Switch Pro controller. But yeah, it's not that bad of a controller. And heck, I would love to have one again, but I don't at the moment.
Yeah, I also remember whenever I think about this controller, I always think about the gold one that came with it for I think the Wii version of James Bond on GoldenEye.
Oh yeah, GoldenEye 007, the piece of shit remake that's not even a remake.
Yeah, I remember that one had like Daniel Craig and stuff in it. For some reason, changed like a lot, even though it's still.
No, if anything, it's not even a fucking remake. It's nothing like the original game.
Really?
Nothing at all. Not even the original level designs. Nothing. It's nothing like the original game.
That is so goddamn weird. What the hell?
They titled it the same name, but it has nothing like the original game. Not even Boris. It's completely different.
Oh my god.
It's not even the same game at all. No, it's not even close.
Oh my god.
Any more I would add about the Classic Controller Pro is that, I mean, I guess it's funny that that's where the standardized Nintendo Pro Controller layout went, and that's where the Wii U Pro Controller got, and Switch Pro Controller got, and yeah.
Yes.
And yeah. Alright, so now we're moving on to Wii U Gamepad.
Yeah, Wii U Gamepad.
And it's funny because I have that bad boy right here, and fun fact, this used to be Ethan's.
Yes. Yeah. All you need to know
Well,
is that.
first things first. Wonderful that this analog sticks actually fucking click finally. It took them so long to finally figure that shit out. But as you were saying,
Yeah, all you need to know about that whole Ethan thing is that Ethan used to own a Wii remote. I mean, no, used to own a Wii U. German wanted one so badly, and Ethan gave it to him. And now German has not just has a Wii U, but also has like a bunch of Wii U games.
mm-hmm. Actually, in fact, you know what? You know what? Do you mind to tell us the whole story in this thing? I'll
Pardon me?
summarize it.
Yeah, just summarize it.
What you guys need to know is, so we were making Jamboree. It was just me and Lewis after we did some photo shoot, or was it like we filmed some scenes for you? So, okay, what happened was that, no,
Yeah.
I actually remember, it was the photo shoot day. So what happened was that after we were done and just relaxing, what happened was that, so we were talking about the Wii U, and I was like, you know what, I would like to get a Wii U. And then Lewis was like, hang on, doesn't Ethan have a Wii U? Why don't you bother him to get it? And I was like, you're a genius. So I called Ethan up, and I was like, Ethan, can I buy your Wii or do anything? And he was like, you know what, fuck it, you can have my Wii U. So he negotiates that for $20, I will buy it. And yeah, I actually did pay him the $30, but it took a while. So I paid him up front with like M&M peanuts. And yup, he ate that sucker up. He ate like almost a whole jar to a point where his parents had to take it away. And I remember, like, yeah, I got the baby, and oh boy, was it great! Like, I got the Wii U. I'd eventually get the gamepad later on, but yeah, my god, it was beautiful. It was fucking amazing. And yeah, I got that baby modded, and hell, I actually bought it a bunch of Wii games and Wiimotes for the thing. And yeah, like every time you come to my house, I have like all the Wiimotes and everything. And yeah, the gamepad, yeah, it's actually good. I like the gamepad.
I really also like the gamepad, but yeah, talk about everything you want to say about it first.
So even though this is probably one of the most silliest and infamous things, because as we all know, this is what pretty much murdered the Wii U from the start, where because they had to put a bunch of money into this gamepad over here, as a result, there was not much budget left for the console itself to be powerful, but also just in general, yeah. Like, a lot of people really just wanted, you know, Nintendo, why don't you just make a Wii 2, like, improve upon the original Wii, but instead they were like, no, we're just going to make another gimmick, and yeah. Like, which this did not have a practical use at all. Like, literally, not many games really use this well. And the games that did are stuck on Wii U. Wii U. But yeah, like, literally, like, yeah, that's what's up with this thing. And yeah, the Wii and Wii U and Wiimote, you know, you get the, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, they had a use, and they were great, but the Wii U just stepped forward, or stepped backwards. It was just like, oh, you're gonna have this fucking gamepad. And yeah, that's the shame of it. I feel like as a controller, though, it's actually better. In fact, I actually like this thing. It has gyro, it has a stylus and everything. It's actually pretty good. I think there actually is mods too on computers to actually let you use this thing as a controller. But yeah, this is actually not that bad of a controller. I actually like it. The wideness and everything. It's almost like the successor to the GameCube keyboard controller. And yeah, it's a very good controller. And you know what? For that, I like it. Clickable buttons and all that. It's a great controller. I like it. It's very nice, and honestly, I would love to play more games with this thing. It's wonderful. Literally, the funniest thing, though, will always be the TV control thing. That shit is funny. But honestly, I like this thing to a point where I kind of like it a little bit, the Switch Pro controller. But yeah, I like it. What would you have to say about it?
Okay. I want to mention right now, it's really funny to hear just how kind of stupid the Wii gamepad is as an idea, because I remember as a kid, I kind of thought this was like the coolest thing that ever exists in video games. Like, I thought, oh my god, you can have an iPad while you play a game? Like, I thought that was so cool, and I remember as a kid, I wanted a Wii U so badly, but instead, I never got it because I was too scared to ask my parents, and plus I had a 3DS instead, and I barely asked for any games on that thing.
Oh, the infamous story for me, though, is that, well, a thing you should definitely know is that as a kid, I ended up becoming a Nintendo. So, I was always a Nintendo fan, but then in 2013, I got a PS3 and became a Little Big Planet fanboy and PS3 fanboy. And I vividly remember I had the opportunity, so my mom was like, alright, German, what do you want? Do you want a 3DS, do you want a Vita, or a Wii U? Because I was like showing the video, so she was asking me the decision, and instead of a Wii U, I got a PS Vita. And now, these days, I mean, of course, I got another PS Vita, which I would show it, but my lazy ass doesn't want to go get it. But, and it's not even in this tier list anyway, so forget it. But the Vita, yeah, of course, I got another model of it now because remember the original model, I had the original model, but I sold it off. But yeah, even though, yeah, of course, the Vita's wonderful. You can mod it and do a bunch of stuff with it. But the thing is that back then I barely did much with it. Unfortunately, like I only played 2 games. One of them was really great though, to a point where it was actually kind of worth not getting the Wii U. Little Big Planet Vita. That game is incredible. But outside of that, unfortunately, I didn't get to do too much with it, sadly. I mean, I did play the Cross Controller pack. That's a wonderful DLC to a point where when I found out I couldn't play it, I was so upset. But yeah, my God. Literally that, the Vita is wonderful, but the Wii U, though, I missed out on it. It would have been interesting if I was like Nintendo and PlayStation back and forth, but I was just such a Sony fanboy that I got a Vita instead. But yeah, that was like the story of how I missed out on the Wii U, but now I have both. As you were saying though.
Yeah, okay, but about to talk about the controller itself, I surprisingly think it's actually a really goddamn nice controller. Especially, okay, this is another controller where I held it once. I don't own a Wii U. I held his Wii U controller. Actually, I remember the first time when Ethan used to own the Wii U gamepad. I actually held it for the first time, and it was so much nicer than I thought, honestly. Like, the triggers felt nice, the joysticks, and even like the buttons.
You mean the trigger buttons?
Oh, they didn't have triggers, did they?
No, there's no triggers. They're buttons. The Wii Classic Controller Pro started the hell we live in of Nintendo fucking saying fuck you to triggers.
Oh my God, no, I goddamn remember. Jesus Christ. But it's still a good controller. It's still a really nice and good controller. Is it stupid? Yes. Does it look funny as hell? It does.
Yes.
Especially, you know what I always will make fun of this controller for is that it has a bunch of buttons in the bottom that don't do anything, like the TV button.
You know what's funny? I actually was able to get it to control my TV, and yeah, it does work.
Oh my goodness, that's cool. But, okay, but yeah, it is though kind of a shame that they never really went anywhere with that Wii U gamepad.
Especially because that was like the detriment. It barely does anything. So literally it was like, what was the point of it?
At least with like motion, like there's a lot you can do with Wii Motion, but freaking
like gesture controls, but fucking Wii U gamepad, there's not much you can do with it outside of like a few ideas.
But I feel like the one thing they could have just done was just, I don't know, making it handheld. But
yeah, but it could barely do crap, which is what the Switch approves upon.
I'll never forget, like literally, there have been videos where like people have tried to kind of just make like inventions where you're able to have a portable Wii U. Like I remember like this one guy who like was able to take his Wii U gamepad and have like his Wii U in his backpack. I remember I forgot what he used, but like he used like, I don't know. I'm not good with technology, but like I remember like he somehow was able to make the Wii U gamepad actually portable.
That's interesting. I guess anymore I would actually about the Wii U is that I guess a fun fact is that I've only ever really played with 3 Wii U's ever in my life. One was by this kid Anthony, which fun fact that Brian and Lewis have completely forgotten about this kid, even though he actually did exist and I met him and was my friend. But yeah, that was the first time I ever played a Wii U at his house. But then the second time was at Ethan's house, and fun fact, that Wii U would go on to be mine. But that Wii U, I played Smash 4 on there, and it was fun. Not the first time, because I played it the first time at Anthony's house, Mario Maker and that game. And then I remember, and then after that, or before, after that, I played another Wii U, and it was Brian's Wii U, because he has one, and he has a Wii U, and I played it. And yeah, it was interesting. Specifically, we were playing Brawl and Smash for Wii U. Like that's how I played it, and yeah, it was interesting. I don't know what he does with that Wii U now, but I mean, yeah, he does still have the games, and yeah, he still has stuff for that game. And heck, and fun fact is that at this point, I think you guys gotta know is I actually now have a bunch of Wii U games. I remember I used to be like, nah, I'm never gonna buy so many Wii U games, but now I have like a shit ton of Wii U games. Hell, I actually have more Wii U games than my Wii library. And I guess a fun fact is that it's actually to a point where I think I have almost all the Wii U games that you gotta have, except for Yoshi's Woolly World and Pikmin 3. But that's it.
Yeah.
Hell, a lot of the Wii U games I got are actually ported to Switch. Hell, I even a Mario Kart 8, and that's a game I always played on Switch. Yeah.
Yes, but alright.
Wii U Pro Controller. Oh god, I already know where that's going. You know, they at least be nice. Actually, no, I'm gonna be nice and just put it in have not used. I never touched it, but if it was in the ranking, it definitely would be low because here's the thing. Not only Wii U gamepad, so the analog sticks are like really far apart, right? And because of that, it's like yeah, it's good like far away. But the problem with the Pro Controller is that it puts it together, and boy, is that not comfortable at all. Like having these two sticks so close to each other. PlayStation can get away with it because they're placed at the bottom. It's comfortable. But at the top, cramps.
You know what's really a shame? They could have made this controller perfect by doing one simple thing. Switch the buttons and the joystick. And boom! You have a really good ass controller.
Yeah. But then there's also the fact that another great thing is that so it's shaped like a fucking Xbox 360 controller, but no goddamn triggers. It's just buttons. Like it's a lie. Like look at that. Oh, you think it's triggers? Nope, it's buttons.
We're still doing
Oh my
this.
god. It's fucking bullshit. That and it's also probably a very infamous controller for me because I will never forget. It's the famous controller that honestly has more bootlegs than there's official. The second contender would probably be PS3, but after that, yeah, Wii U Pro Controller has a bootleg problem. I remember Scott the West talked about it, where there was a bootlegging problem for the controller, where you couldn't find an official one at stores.
Oh my goodness.
It was bad. And heck, if anything, now I'm just remembering back when the Wii U was sold at my Target. It was crazy to see Wii U stuff for it, and nobody would want to buy shit for it. Oh my god, but yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely awful shit. And also, there's also the fact, no fucking gyro. They removed it in the Pro Controller. It was in the gamepad, but not the Pro Controller.
Yes. Oh my god, but yeah, and also just... Yeah, I think the one thing, I hate the layout of this thing. It's so goddamn stupid.
Oh, yeah.
It is. Honestly, even more stupid than the gamepad. At least the gamepad, yeah, it's far away. And you know what? I don't really think the gamepad looks as funny as people say, but this looks like a meme. This controller looks like a goddamn meme, I'm gonna be honest.
How to make the Xbox 360 controller bad. Yeah.
Exactly, yes.
Alright, time to move on to the most controversial console, I guess. The Nintendo Switch.
God damn, I have never seen a controller that has gotten so much controversy than, honestly, the Joy-Cons. Jesus Christ.
If anything, I call it... no, you're going to ahead. We gotta go. We gotta do it in order.
Okay.
Actually, no. Just to be fair, yeah, we're gonna do a single then. Okay, but before we do that, though, I wanted to at least quickly ramble that I also say it's controversial because of the console that's infamously pretty goddamn fragile. Like it's very undurable, and I hope the guy with the Nintendo Switch 2 they fucking make it durable. And if they don't, I'm never gonna buy a Nintendo thing ever again. Well, anything new at least. but Nintendo Switch. Okay, so from the Joy-Cons, must admit they're not. I must admit, surprisingly, I guess, like good luck. I've never ever had a Joy-Con fuck up on me. Period. Any Joy-Con I've ever, which actually I never owned that many Joy-Cons. But a fun fact is that the two Joy-Cons I only ever owned, and the Pro Controller, they have never drifted on me. Period. They've always been good to me. And single Joy-Con, I must admit, is a pretty fucking funny setup to a point where, you know what, I actually would put it higher than the NES Advantage. I actually like the thing.
Oh yeah, this. I will say right now, I think this is a fun setup to have at like parties though. Like if you want to have like a party where like, oh, you're just playing a handheld Switch, and if you bring out like just a single Joy-Con, that'd be really funny.
But I mean but there's also that games that actually make you use it. The Mario Party game, the Super Mario Party, that one. Fuck you, Superstars, Super Mario Party. I like that one more. That one made you use the single Joy-Con, and I love that game. It's fucking funny as hell. And I vividly remember we were playing, me, Brian, and Ethan were playing that game in the car ride when we were going to Best Buy to play the demo for Smash Ultimate. Oh. Which, if you guys gotta remember that, because you guys need to know that's the trip where I got the Waluigi plush, and Lewis uses that for his videos.
Yeah.
The silence, I'm sorry. But okay. Yeah, single Joy-Con, I like that thing.
Okay, yeah, I don't mind single Joy-Con. Just like the Wii, the single Wii remote, I'm never using it. I've never done it. I've never used a single Joy-Con. The only times I think I've done it is when the goddamn thing's handheld and when we don't have like enough control. You know what? I will say another nice thing about the single Joy-Con. It's convenient. If you're missing like your other Joy-Cons or you're missing a Pro Controller, Single Joy-Con. It's convenient. I appreciate that. So.
What the fuck is my Joy-Con?
All right.
Please play the original video.
All right. Dual Switch Joy-Cons.
Low B.
Wait, give me a second.
Actually, I kind of want to put it. I kind of want to put it over the Wiimote and Nunchuck, but at the same time, I kind of don't. You know what? They're tied. They're tied. I like both actually. I actually like using the Joy-Cons. Now, Pro Controller though wins, of course. It has Joy Arrow and everything, hooba dooba. But Joy-Cons, they're not that bad, honestly. I actually used to use them a lot, but once I got a Pro Controller, man, I used the Pro Controller a lot more. But yeah. Actually, I remember back when I was a Switch kid, I really wanted the Pro Controller, but then when I finally got one, I was so happy. And I used that thing a lot for Switch games. Even Smash Ultimate. I remember I used to use this GameCube controller a lot, but then I moved on to the Joy-Con, to this Pro Controller, and yeah. Well, everybody, I apologize for that cut out of nowhere. It became so late that we actually had to move on to the next day. And fun fact, we're actually doing this on the 29th. That comes every 4 years. Yesterday was the 28th. And yeah, it's Cody's birthday. Logan, where's that video? It hasn't come out at the moment. It's 8. But okay. So, you weren't able to talk about it, but yeah, what did you have to say about the Joy-Cons and, yeah, the Joy-Con by itself? You weren't able to say much about them.
I honestly, yeah, I do think the Joy-Cons aren't the best controller to use. I like using them when I guess I guess they're fun to use for like parties and stuff, and in hand.
Yes.
And hell, you know,
Yes.
in handheld mode, I actually don't mind using the hell. I don't mind Switch on handheld. It's just still my problem is I would not want to use Joy-Cons for whenever I actually want to play a game like seriously. Like let's say like I want to play like I don't know, maybe like a Zelda game. Like no, I would not want to use the Joy-Cons. I rather would use like the Pro Controller. Which yeah, thank goodness the Pro Controller exists.
Yes. Honestly, any more Nintendo stuff I do want to quickly bring up before we move into the Pro Controller, which, no, don't worry, I'm not going to drag it out, but any more that I actually realized I didn't get to bring up was that one, N64 and GameCube, anything I actually kind of realized I kind of wish I talked about was definitely the value thing about it, where, like, the priciness, actually, where N64, famously, is a controller where you have to look for the ones that have the best sticks ever, and I was able to get one with a good stick. I don't remember how much this costed me, actually. I think it was like 20 or 30 at the time, but I remember, yeah, an N64 is a bit pricey to get a good stick, although that's not even talking about Dreamcast, where if you want to get another color, it's like 50, whereas a regular one is just like only 20. But we're not with the Sega stuff yet. But yeah, N64 is like that. And we haven't even started talking about GameCube. Where do we even begin? Where thanks to Super Smash Bros., these things are a little too pricey than they should be.
Yeah.
And I remember I was able to get both of these for, well, I only have this one. The other one's in a box, but these two, I vividly remember, I actually was able to get them for $20 each. Especially, in particular, this one, fun fact, I remember the Smash 4 one. It was because one day I was at GameStop, and they just had this pre-owned, like, literally only for $20. Like, literally, you could grab it. And I was like, oh, shit, that's a good controller. I'm going to get it. And, yeah, I did. And, yeah, that's how I got this controller. And then the Ultimate one, it was because, yeah, they re-released it, so I was like, oh, I'm going to get the Ultimate because I'm so excited. I'm a Switch fanboy. And, yeah, that's the other story of how I got the two Smash controllers. I will say now, I wouldn't mind getting more GameCube controllers, maybe a jokey one at some point, but I mean, yeah, the ones I have, I'm never going to get rid of them, even if I don't play much GameCube. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly put that out the way because I didn't get to bring it up earlier. But yeah, okay.
All right.
And then, yeah, Nintendo Switch Pro Controller.
Where would you put this?
Oh, that? Okay, so I will be honest, it actually would be S tier if it wasn't for one thing. No triggers. So, it would probably be below the Wavebird, honestly.
Oh, I'm kind of surprised. I thought it'd be way higher.
No, here's the thing. I must admit, actually, on a second thought, you know what, they're tied. Yeah, they're tied.
All
like,
right.
okay, so in terms of Nintendo's controls, definitely probably one of the best out there. It's very advanced, but honestly, I would rather play with the GameCube triggers all day over Nintendo Switch Pro Controller lets you use the amiibo and all this hoopy doopy shit. I'm sorry, but literally, the fact that for whatever bloody reason, that there's no triggers, and the fact that they got rid of triggers too is just baloney. Like I mean, it's not as bad since Switch games tend to not use them very well. But I mean, here's the thing: people use those controls for other games, so it's like when you're playing like racers, you're gonna be at a disadvantage. So it's like, yeah, I think it's like dumb that Nintendo just is like, yeah, we're not gonna have triggers, even though they literally put triggers in their controllers, like in the GameCube. So it's like, why did they just drop it? It's almost like Nintendo wants to give themselves a handicap, which I don't remember where I put my damn. Actually, did I get my Switch Pro controller over here? Oh my god, you know what's meant when it's bad. I didn't even get it over here. But whatever. I do have one. It's actually the only, as a Nintendo Switch hater back in 2021, that was the only thing I kept, and I actually still used it here and there. The only problem I have with it though is that it's kind of a pain in the butt to get it working with Steam Deck, because it's like it's either it works and it doesn't because of the bloody battery. It's funny, the Series X actually works now that I properly updated the firmware. But the problem with that controller, though, is that it's really picky on where you charge it. So I have to make sure it's charged to something. Like if it lights up, it's charging. But if it doesn't, it's not charging. But yeah, Switch Pro controller, not that bad of a controller. But man, I feel like if it had triggers, it actually would be an S tier. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'm actually a bit more positive towards the Pro controller. Sure, no triggers, but honestly, it's like I say it's up there with like the PlayStation and the Xbox. It's like the nicest feeling controller. I remember feeling the Pro controller German has, and I'll admit it's a really nice controller, and the buttons feel nice. I feel like everything about it, it's kind of, I guess, like another controller we'll get to that isn't PlayStation, where they got everything down, like everything is perfection. But like German said, the triggers were not the best. But I will, yes,
it doesn't even have triggers. It's just freaking buttons. I think that's baloney.
Yeah, which I do want to mention something, which I brought this with me. I'm finally showing a controller. I don't recommend anybody using the Power A Pro controller. These things
you know what's
kind of
funny?
suck.
When it's funny, as a kid, I remember I really wanted the Pro controller, and then my sister instead, not the one who's a liberal, but the other one. But I remember she got me instead the Power A one, and the Power A one is awful. I had
these
the Mario
are so
one.
cheap. Okay, if you want to get these for your kid, sure. But if you really are serious about playing Switch games, or hell, just getting like a controller or general, do not get these. These are just cheap feeling. And also, these do get Joy-Con drift, I say, much more easier than the Pro controller. Because, recently, this guy has been getting Joy-Con, that has been getting drift recently, and I kind of find that a bit bullshit. Like, I haven't really been destroying this thing all the time. I kept it really well, and out of nowhere,
yeah, those Power A controllers are awful. And you know what's funny? Ethan has a even shittier one that was like Animal Crossing theme, and it's a cabled one, like an old ass controller.
I just remembered.
For computers.
I just remember sometimes you can hear the parts rattle in the damn thing.
Yes, Ethan does not keep them in good condition. Oh yeah, I remember, kids. When you bring a game to Ethan's house, you'll never see it again.
Yeah,
that's what happened to my Halo games.
Yeah, this is not on the tier list because I don't know, because it's like more like a bootleg, I guess. But like, do not get these. I highly do not recommend to get the Power A controllers for anybody who wants to get into Switch or any of that crap. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. But Pro controller, I would love to put it in S tier, honestly, because I think it is still a great controller, even if the triggers can be a little bit better. But I definitely understand your position when it came to putting it in A tier.
If there's any good use you can also put to it outside of some PC games, I will say right now it does make a great substitute over the Wii U Pro controller when you have a homebrewed Wii U, because you can connect any Bluetooth controller. It's great. I like to use it. It's actually my favorite one to use when I play Wii U crap. Although there are times where I do use the gamepad because, the Wii U doesn't work without the gamepad. It can't live without the gamepad.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. And yeah, we're done with Nintendo, and now we have
Unfortunately, we have to put all of that and have not touched, because unfortunately I've never gotten to touch any of them. I will say right now though that if there was any controllers in that pile, I would actually love to try out probably Philips CDI and Neo Geo. I'd love to try that out.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
CDI, look at the freaking spoon. I love to touch that thing.
Oh my god, yeah. But now, oh boy, we gotta get to the big boy, which, okay, now I find it weird. Why the hell did they put PlayStation first, but not Sega second?
Oh, yeah, it is actually funny, because you'd think they put it in the order of, it's a little weird, I have to admit. It's like, oh, look at that! PS5 is like all the way over there at the bottom. Access controller. Why is that not in the PlayStation pile? That's weird.
Yeah,
It's almost
okay,
like the guy
I'm
who
just
made
gonna-
this tier list kind of screwed this up.
I'm
yeah.
just gonna fix this a bit, but
No, yeah, you fixed it. Oh
Okay.
no, wait, the PS2i toy, the PS2i toy's down there.
oh my freaking god, that thing! Oh boy, and
You know what's funny?
What the
I've actually seen that sold at stores, but I've never bought one because I didn't know what games you needed it for, so I never messed around with that thing even when I had a PS2.
also NES Max is here, so I guess.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Nope, I never touched it. I think.
yeah.
Oh, I mainly remember because Angry Video Game Nerd complained about it.
All right, I think that might be.
But yeah, let's get the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what's funny about that first one? I actually do have the classic controller, from when they made that frickin' PlayStation Classic that was famously a piece of crap.
Oh,
funny,
really?
recently I did actually buy another one, so now I have these two USB PlayStation Classic controllers. One complaint I actually will have about when they did that Classic is actually I kind of wish they did make a reprint of the DualShock one so that you have a modern DualShock, but no, they only did the ones with no dual sticks. They only did the original ones. But these, I will say right now, I felt the original. I actually had the original, and these reprints, I will say right now that, yeah, you know what? It's not that bad of a controller. Now, I will admit, it take a while to learn about the fact, because the thing you gotta know is that the second row of shoulder buttons are not, like, as big as the DualShock made them before. They were actually the same size as, like, the first row. So it's like, it kind of feels a little weird. But I will say right now that this reprint is actually a lot more clickier. The original one was a lot more mushier. But regardless, this is not that bad of a controller, honestly. Is it my favorite 2D controller? Not necessarily, but I mean, it's not the worst thing ever, but Sega Saturn definitely wins in regards to perfected 2D controllers. But yeah, this is not that bad. And I would honestly put it, actually, probably under the Super Famicom controller. And yeah, that's where I put it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I don't have
Okay.
anything to add since I don't have that much to say about the controller. Besides, I think it is weird to see regular format PlayStation controller without any joysticks. Like I always find that just kind of fascinating, and weird.
Oh yeah, anything I forgot to mention is that PlayStation definitely did inherit a lot from the SNES controller, and one of them being the clicky shoulder pads,
Yes.
the shoulder buttons, and they still have the clickiness to this very day, even
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
they
PS5
do.
controller. Dual analog, as much as I would love to rank it, yeah, we gotta move it to have not used. I never touched it. I touched it one time, but I never played it with a game, so I can't rank it. PS1 DualShock, I'm gonna say right now, high B tier.
Huh.
It's a pretty good controller, and honestly, I like it a lot. It's very clicky. The analog sticks are really great, and it's the first ever modern controller ever, made in 1997 or 8. And funny, the Dreamcast when that came out, it was after the DualShock. And man, it's a little outdated. Like literally, the DualShock had the rubbered, the standard. Which just for shits and giggles, I'm gonna bring out the DualShock 3. You had the standard rubbered analog sticks. The buttons, literally, it was the standard, and also the button too to be you can have analog and no analog. Like in general, it's set the standard, and it's a very great controller and pretty timeless. Even if I will admit, I'll never forget Nero's argument where it's bad when games don't use, it's bad when a lot of games still work regardless if you could just plug in the old ass controller because his argument is it implies that not enough games take advantage of the fact that new controllers have gyro and all this hoopy doopy shit, especially the PS5.
Oh yeah, I see.
But yeah, the DualShock PS1 is a very good controller. Even if I must admit, I feel like if there's anything that's a shame, is definitely the fact that even the games at the time didn't really use it very well. There wasn't enough games early on that actually used both of the sticks. Before it was just just one stick, and then some games would actually use the other one. I remember Spyro took a long while to finally figure it out, and then it was by Spyro 3 when they finally both used the sticks, and it actually works really good. But yeah, the DualShock 1 is really good, I'm gonna say right now.
Yeah, if I have anything to add, once again, not a controller I use that often or hell even own, but I will say it is definitely one of the most important controllers to ever exist in gaming since it perfected what 3D controllers can be And yeah, it also spawned one of the most it spawned a pretty iconic format for controllers in terms of like PlayStation.
Yeah, it started the dual analog, and that's the standard now.
Yes.
Alright, and DualShock 2. I will say now, DualShock 2 and 3 are pretty similar, but what you need to know about the DualShock 2 is that it invented something that is still in the DualShock 3, and it's analog buttons! And unfortunately, not a lot of games used it, but if you want to know what's a series that actually used it to a point where when you try to play with regular old buttons, it's kind of unplayable, Metal Gear Solid! 2 and 3 specifically. And actually 4, I think, actually also used it. I remember people were complaining about how the Xbox 360 version is a bit of a bitch to play because, remember, the original Xbox had the analog buttons, but then the 360 removed it. So when you play it, you're a bit handicapped. But where I would put it, though, I probably would put it tied with the DualShock PS1. Like, literally, I kind of interchangeably. In fact, fun fact, actually, when I, for a while, had the PS2, I had to use a DualShock 1 because they were out of DualShock 2, so there were some games I couldn't play, because I remember it was weird. Some games would let you use the DualShock 1, and then some games would not. Yeah, they're tied, but you know what? Yeah, put it above, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's why it was like, yeah, and a disadvantage. And as a result, literally that's why, DualShock 2, when you play PS2 games, you definitely need the DualShock 2. And yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, nothing to add since, it's almost like the same controller, except, with like a few enhancements.
Yeah, literally, I shit you not. The biggest change you need to know, Lewis, is that it's analog buttons. That's literally it. That's the change. Outside of that, it's the same controller. And DualShock 3. Not only a controller actually better than Xbox, because compared to 360 where it still used DVDs and had no gyro and was a poop that kind of would not work sometimes, DualShock 3 had gyro and was the first controller ever to have gyro on the market. Because we actually didn't have gyro yet. It wasn't until when they made Motion Plus that it finally had gyro. But yeah, DualShock 3 was the first one to use gyro, and I will say right now, I put it above the Wii U gamepad. Literally, the only outdated thing I can think about the DualShock 3, the triggers could be a little better, but honestly, I don't mind the triggers. I actually have grown used to it. Yeah, sure, it looks like the old goddamn Sega controllers, and you know what? I don't give a shit. This is a good controller, and I like it a lot. Even if this version, you can clearly see it right here, is actually a bit pricey to get. I remember I was able to get a good deal on this. It was like $60 for a combo of 2 controllers. Like, that was a steal. It was either 60 or 50 I paid, yeah. But I remember, it was a good as hell deal. I got 2 controllers from Canada. And I remember I cleaned them the fuck up, because the thing you guys gotta know is that when I got... A thing about PS3 controllers I will complain about is that, dear God, sometimes you get some of the dirtiest controllers ever, and I fucking cleaned the living shit out of them. Which another problem I guess I have with these things is that you gotta really learn how to put it together, because if you don't know how you put it together, you're gonna fuck up a lot. I remember I tried to put on my first one and I broke the damn thing. So it was like a learning curve to properly figure out how do you put it together. Because if you didn't put it together, it wouldn't close right. But once you figure it out, it's like a piece of cake. But yeah, I remember this was gunky, it was all dirty and filthy. And then I cleaned it, the living crap up, and look at that. It looks like it was brand new, came out the box now. I remember I had to wash it with a bar of soap and clean it to death. Oh my god. And I did that with all my PS3 controllers. Like, literally, PS3, I'll tell you what, like, literally, some of these older consoles, the only problem I really have with them, honestly, is that I have to admit, it's kind of a bit of a hunt to get the best controllers ever, especially for, like, I feel like the consoles by my heart would probably be Saturn, Wii, PS3, like, those are the 3 that are like, oh my god, you gotta go on a manhunt to get the best of the best. And I was able to, thankfully, I have enough controllers for PS3, so every time you're over at my house, you don't need to bring one. But yeah, PS3 is a controller I like a lot. And not even just because PS3 is actually my favorite PlayStation console. But yeah, it's a great controller and does the job very well. And this is my favorite one to use.
Yeah,
and
I do think the PlayStation 3 controller is a pretty cool controller, since from the outside, it looks exactly the same. But it has a lot of things, I would say, where... it's a huge leap and improvement over, like, 1 and 2, where, like, first off, it's wireless... And also, it has gyro. I remember it has gyro, right? Because I remember, like,
yes, it does. I was talking about that just now.
Yeah, because because I remember Little Big Planet utilized that really well.
Yeah, you can move your character's head and everything. Oh my god, it was fun. Literally, I think my only complaint with the DualShock 3 is that it is the only controller where, for some goddamn reason, it really is picky on where you charge it. Like, I'm talking, you can't even charge it to your wall. You have to like charge it to a device.
Oh yeah, I remember
that. It is stupid. Like, that is my one complaint I actually will give to the DualShock 3. Outside of that, it's a perfect controller. My only complaint is literally just the fact that at this point, if I want to make sure it's properly charged, I have to literally have them all hooked up to my Steam Deck and let them charge by the Steam Deck while it's on. Oh my god, like, literally, it's bad. My god, that's my only complaint. Literally, I wish Sony made like a proper DualShock 3 charging hub that didn't make you need this or that. Just literally just the hub, and yup, that's it. You're good. You can charge it.
Yes.
But yeah, that's my only complaint with the thing. Oh my god.
But yeah. Alright. Oh boy.
Alright, DualShock 4. You know what? S tier. Our first S tier. Because I will say right now, it is the controller that I will say right now definitely was the first to finally get everything right.
Yes.
You have gyro, you have a touchpad in case of any mouse shit when you're playing on Steam Deck, and in general, it's just an incredible controller, and of course the triggers, which is currently, unfortunately, the only one that does it, because I have to be honest, I'm actually more of a fan of the Xbox and GameCube layout, where you have the analog stick above the D-pad. I like it a lot more because because you know, your hand. Because I'm sorry, but when you have like your thumb over here, it's like, yeah, your thumb, you know, automatically wants to go to the stick, but no, it's like on the D-pad. You have to move it down to the stick. Like, I will say right now, it's not like I hate the PlayStation layout. Like, I mean, bro, I was a Sony fanboy. Of course, I'm used to it. I've literally mastered all the button layouts and all of it. I'm just saying that if you want to know what's my preference, honestly, the Xbox one, because I actually prefer the stick being above the D-pad. It's a lot more comfortable. Because what are you going to be playing? 3D games. And what are you going to be using? The stick. So, of course, your thumb is going to be on the stick. And that's what Dreamcast got right. The problem, though, would just be that Xbox doesn't have gyro and Switch doesn't have triggers. Which is why PS4 is the best controller. But yeah, I give it S tier because, yeah, it's honestly a controller that, in particular, is wonderful when you play on the Steam Deck. Because, you know, you have to navigate all these menus that you need the mouse for, and you don't need to get your ass up when you use the PS4 controller. So yeah, it's great. I love that thing.
Yes.
And yeah, literally, my only complaint would probably be that it uses a really outdated USB port.
Oh my god, you're right, yeah.
But outside of that, it's a very timeless controller. Like, it uses an Android-ass charging port, but outside of that, it's a good controller.
Yes. This may be a stretch to say, but this is like one of my favorites, if not probably favorite controller ever made, honestly. I really love using this thing. The layout is still really nice to me, honestly, because, yeah, I'm used to the Sony layout. The buttons feel really nice. The triggers are the best that they've ever been. And, of course, the touchpad. Now, maybe when the PlayStation 4 came out, maybe this wasn't like the most useful thing ever, but I say this is really extremely useful when you're playing Steam Deck, like what German said, where, yeah, you don't have to go to your Steam Deck or keyboard to just move the mouse, since you can already move the mouse on this thing, and I feel like that really what makes this honestly the best controller to use, probably for your Steam Deck, honestly, besides one other controller, which we'll get to, but yeah, I don't really have anything to add. Since I feel like German said everything that's needed to be said. I love this thing, and yeah.
Yeah, in fact, you know what? Because I like it so much, I'm actually going to get my ass up and go get it. Because I, for whatever reason, didn't go get it for this video. I can't believe this. Okay. Oh fuck! The webcam fell. Okay. I wanted to bring it over here because I wanted to show everybody that, yeah, this is mine specifically. And I bring it up in particular because I actually will say right now, I bought this specifically for the Steam Deck. Because it was like, I bought this long after I don't have a PS4 anymore. And I was like, yeah, I love I was like, yeah, I need a controller. Because I remember what happened was that my Xbox controller wasn't working anymore. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to finally get myself a PS4 controller. And yeah, I got myself this off of Amazon. I remember, even though it was like at the time when the PS5 was already out, I still got this because, yeah, I wanted this. I guess anything ironic I would mention, though, is that I guess it's funny. My PS4 controller is blue, and then my main PS3 controller is red. I will say now, did they ever make translucent PS4 controllers? Because if they ever did, I actually would love to get one, but I've never seen one.
I've probably seen a few actually.
Because I will say now, if they did, I would love to get my hands on one, especially a red one that match my other PS3 controller. And if you do find one, let me know, because I'd love one. Alright, but yeah, PlayStation, they always never miss. Alright. PlayStation Move. I actually like PlayStation Move. Fuck you. And I didn't even get my PlayStation Move controllers either. You know what? I like the PlayStation Move. I'm gonna go get it. PlayStation Move. Unfortunately, at the moment, I don't have enough for 4 people, but I do have enough for 2 people. And this is my PlayStation Move. So, PlayStation Move, I will say this, I like PlayStation Move. I remember I was so excited when it was announced, and I remember Little Big Planet, it had one of the best DLCs ever that used this thing, and yeah, I loved it. Unfortunately, I didn't get that many games that used it, but outside of that, it was a fun time, yeah. Like, remember, Little Big Planet had fun DLCs that used the Vita and PlayStation Move, and yeah, this thing, I love it. Like, literally, I remember, like, I played it. It was fun. And you can still play it compared to the Vita one, where cross-control pack doesn't really work. You need to go on custom servers to get it to work. But, yeah, this thing, I love it. It's wonderful. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten to use it yet for any video or anything, but yeah. I would actually rank it, you know what, fuck it, I'd rank it above the PlayStation controller. No, Famicom. Below Famicom, I mean. Yeah, there you go. I like that thing. Although I think it's a shame that they didn't include I actually forgot what the hell they named it. The nunchuck ripoff.
Oh, I forgot about that thing.
Yeah, like it was the move and the nunchuck. I forgot what they named the nunchuck though. But yeah, I don't know why they didn't include it. Okay, and then yeah, that PlayStation, love PlayStation. Alright, now now the stuff that I can't talk about because I've never touched them.
Alright, PlayStation 5. Honestly, I say now, okay. Part of me wants to say this is better than PlayStation 4, but my problem is that I'll admit, I think I kind of prefer how much more, I guess, less showy the design of the PlayStation 4 controller is. Where, like, you know what, it looks nice, while for PlayStation 5, it kind of has the same problem I kind of do have with the console itself, where it just looks way too fucking realistic, futuristic, and it's like, well, what the hell? But at the same time, I actually love holding this thing. This is like one of the nicest feeling controllers I've ever used, honestly. And I say they still carry everything over that worked with the PS4 controller. The trackpad, of course, is still back, which I would love to get the controller, but it's downstairs, so yeah, I'm not gonna bother with that. But yeah.
And if anything, I was just gonna quickly say that I feel like any comment I would give on this PS5 stuff, because unfortunately, everybody, I actually don't have much to say, because remember, kids, after PS4, I just stopped. Literally, once I became a PC boy, I never looked back. I didn't even care anymore about, oh, what's that, a PS5 and Xbox One Series X is coming out? I don't really care. And what's funny, though, is that one quick learn, bro, I will have, and don't worry, I'm not gonna make it stretch it out, but all you need to know was that is that a fun fact is that I actually hyped up the PS5 and actually wanted to go wait in line to go get it.
Oh yeah.
But by the time that happened, there was no games to sell me on the damn thing, and I just didn't care anymore. So that's why I dropped out. And what's funny is that Lewis, I think, is the only Lewis is the only one out of the 4 of us that even has a PS5, and then Brian has an Xbox Series X. Me and Ethan, we don't have shit from the new generation.
Oh my god, yeah. But alright.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that because unfortunately I don't have too much to say about the PS5. I got to hold a raspberry ass colored
which
one,
is the one that's my personal PS5 controller.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, I guess, even though I do prefer the DualShock 4, because I'll say this, I had a PS4 Pro, which I feel like if I were to get a PS4 again, it'd definitely be the Pro. Honestly, I love the PS4 Pro. I don't care what that guy, Scott the Wasp, said. I love that console. Fuck you. It's a great console. I like the look of it. But I will say this, that like the console, I wouldn't mind getting it again just for some PS4 games, even if there's not too many to be like, oh, whatever. But you know what? You get the point. In general, DualShock 4, I like that one a lot more, and honestly, visually, like it more than DualShock 5. But yeah, keep going. Actually, I mean DualSense. I'm sorry, but yeah, keep going.
Okay, I'm sorry. We have to pause this. Yeah, my mom's calling me.
Oh, probably they'll like be quiet.
No. They just need me really quick.
Oh, okay. You gotta be my friend, hooba-dooba. You gotta be my friend, hooba-dooba. Luckily there's Family Guy, da-da-da. Positive you can do, positive you man do. All the things that make us to laugh and cry. He's a Family Guy. Dico mito sumimato zamate to yo me ni dabi despacito.
And if I had to finish off the PS5 really quick, I will say I do appreciate it does use a better charger than the PlayStation 4. Like it uses USB-C. Yeah, I appreciate that. So yeah, would this be a controller I recommend for people if they want a controller for PC? You know what? Sure, go ahead. I don't mind if people.
Yeah, actually, I remember Neil actually upgraded the PS5 DualSense. Even if I will admit, the only reason why I haven't done it is literally I'm sorry, but I don't really play games that would use a lot of the features that DualSense needs you to because that's like a $70 controller. Like, okay, what were the like some of those senses were like okay, I remember some of those features were like, oh, you can. Wasn't one of them being like you could feel? I actually kind of
you can like feel it's almost like it feels like you're triggering a gun.
Yes, and it's like I don't know about that. Like literally, PS4 is just fine. I like especially like all the games I play. Like literally for fuck's sake, do I need like a DualSense just to play an SNES game or get Genesis game? No, I don't.
Which now you remind me, I kind of did want to talk about this. Where like you know what, at this point. Yeah, I don't blame people going more for the PS4, because I feel like the thing with the PS4, they kind of perfected that one, to the point where for PS5, it felt like they needed to cram in shit now I think about it. Like, it kind of feels more, PS5 controller feels more like a reboot rather than like an evolution of, where like, okay, from going from 1 to 4, it feels like a proper evolution, like, okay, we made it. And then PS5 is like the reboot. Like, you get what I mean?
Yes, and it doesn't help that console still to this day barely has any shit that's like, yep, that's what I think when I think of PS5.
Which I will say right now, hearing that PlayStation or Sony's thinking about moving to PlayStation 6, I absolutely hate that so much. Like, just make a new good game for the PlayStation 5. Come on. Why are you giving up the PS5 that easily?
Yeah, and the games need to take like 50 goddamn years to make
now.
Shut
up. The PlayStation 3, you were able to cram out so many good-ass games. What happened, man? I know.
Yes.
Yeah, that's for another topic. Yeah, gaming consoles, my goodness. But yeah. Of course, I don't have any of these. It doesn't help that the PlayStation 5 is kind of useless, so like, why would I buy these?
And also, plus, nobody wants to buy fucking Pro controllers. They're too damn expensive.
Yes, and plus, isn't this already technically a Pro controller? Like, this is fine enough. At least for Nintendo, it makes sense, but for PlayStation and Xbox,
yeah, when Nintendo does it, it's like, oh, there's a standard controller, but when PlayStation and Xbox do it,
we gotta cram in with a bunch of random stuff.
Epic Gamer controller.
Epic Gamer, make it made out of, I don't know, fucking carpet or something. That'll please the gamers.
Yes.
Alright. I remember you owned this one time, didn't you?
No, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking of the PS3 camera.
Which they don't have that here.
Oh, no, they don't, and that's because that's more like a tool. The iToy, on the other hand, was actually a gimmick. It was like a gimmick and everything. Like, some games used it, but I think Brian might have had one or used it. I don't think so. I don't even know.
Maybe he does have one.
I never had the iToy. Never. Actually, I think Brian actually might have had the iToy, but nope, me never. I never had it.
The only interesting thing I find about the iToy is probably the Sega Superstars. The fact that just exists.
Oh yeah, that's where it all started. Yeah, it started with the iToy, Sega Superstars. That's actually what started the whole All-Star series. Even if the real one was actually tennis.
And I guess a little Sonic fact for you Sonic fans watching. That was the last game with Ryan drumming as Sonic.
Oh, it's funny because the last game with Jason Griffin as Sonic was Sega and All-Star Sonic Racing.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right.
And I actually completed that one recently.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
my god. Mega CD, you can play the cowboy with no name on that thing.
Yeah, who gives a crap? Who gives a crap?
Was it a town with no name? I don't know.
I don't know. Who gives a crap? Who gives a crap? Wait.
No,
Are
no,
we even
that's
gonna rank
Sega.
Master System?
Alright, here we go. Alright, here we finally are! Sega!
Sega!
Oh man, am I ready. Alright, that's actually probably the part I've been the most excited for, especially because there's a certain console that I actually have all the controllers for, so I can talk about it a little more in detail. But
Yes.
okay, so Sega Master System, unfortunately I've never touched that thing actually, unfortunately. I've never have. I don't think Brian ever had a Master System,
I don't
so
think
I never
so.
got to touch it. No. Master System though, I wouldn't mind playing more of its games, but yeah, Master System, I never got to touch it. Here we go. Okay. Genesis 3 controller. Now, it's a comfortable beast, yes, but I'm sorry. I think something I will forever dislike about the Genesis controllers, they don't have shoulder buttons.
I forgot about that.
It's so weird. Oh my god. Every time I hold them, it's like, where's the shoulder buttons? But yeah, the boomerang weird 3-button one, I will say this. That one isn't that bad of a controller, even if I do agree with what Scott stated, where it was like, oh, I don't like that you have to switch your thumbs and all that shit. I don't blame him. Especially because that's a controller where it's like just 3 buttons. It's a pretty iconic controller, yeah, but honestly, put it up. I want to see where the other controllers are. Like, to at least see where I put it. You know what? To be nice, really low B. That's where I put it.
Huh. Yeah.
It does the job, but dear God, no. Honestly, it's acted to a point where you know what? Move the single Joy-Con above it and put the Genesis controller in C tier.
Oh my goodness, Jesus. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, alright. If I had my take on it, I've never touched it, but I'll admit, I think as a controller you want to use for 2D games, honestly, I 100% would go with Famicom, especially because I feel like with Famicom, even like Super Nintendo, they have like a design that I feel like would work for anybody, while for Sega Genesis, it kind of has that, that weird thing the PlayStation 5's been doing where it wants to look all cool and shit. Oh my god, look how cool this looks, look how futuristic, this is next gen! And
I will give Sega this though, is that D-pad is actually where they invented their best D-pad that would actually go on to be even better on the Saturn.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, you're right about that. But yeah, this is definitely a controller. Like from what I've seen, I don't really care for this controller. I know the Genesis is really famous, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of pitchforks for this. But I'm sorry, it's never a controller I really loved, in my opinion.
It's not that bad of a controller and works what it does, but honestly, I definitely prefer a lot of the later Sega ones. But yeah. Okay. Alright, the 6-button one. I will say right now, I actually like that thing a bit. It's actually a lot more comfortable, and even though it doesn't have any shoulder buttons, I can get used to it. Even if, unfortunately, not a lot of games use the 6 buttons ones. Of course, we all know that the games that absolutely definitely used it were the fighting games, and of course, you can't go wrong with the fighting games.
Yeah.
And also famously, of course, Hoobadoo with the Sega whole fighting games home is also where the whole Mortal Kombat shit started, and that's how we got ESRB as a rating system in America.
Yeah.
But the 6-button system, would probably put it in B tier. Heck, I actually would put it over the PlayStation controller. It's not that bad.
Oh, so.
No. The first one.
Okay.
Yeah, I like PS Move more than it. Okay.
I wonder people's reaction to thinking how, man, German ranked PlayStation Move higher than Sega Genesis.
Yeah. I mean, it's just more fun.
Yes.
Alright.
It's more interesting. But
But yeah, the 6-button was good. Alright, now here we are. The controllers I can really talk about, because boy, do I have them right here to talk about. Although, actually, give me a bit, because I'm like, okay, now I know where I put them. I put them in here. Okay, sorry, they're buried under Nintendo stuff, so let me go get them. Alright. So we're starting with the American controller, and I will be honest, I'm actually really forgiving to this controller. In fact, I actually really like this controller, to a point where I actually kind of like to use this thing a bit more than the Japanese one sometimes. Like, here's the thing. So, you'll see in the back, you have these grips, and oh my god, is it so good to a point where if I have the drug with this controller, I would say this is the 2D version of the Duke controller from Xbox. Like, I love this thing. It is big, chunky, I love it a lot. And anything I've realized recently is definitely that this start button's actually inspired by the one from the original Genesis controller. Like, I never realized that. I was like, hey, why is it shaped like this? But now I know, oh, it's from the Genesis one. Except rubber, because the one on Genesis is fucking plastic and it's terrible. But this thing, oh my god, it is so good. Yeah, I don't like that the shoulder buttons aren't as clicky. In fact, they're kind of like mouse. They're kind of like clicking a mouse. But, I mean, outside of that, I actually love this thing. It's wonderful. I love it. You got 6 buttons, and it's great. And honestly, playing Sega Saturn games with only 4 buttons is a literal handicap. It's so bad. Oh my god. Remember when we played our Guardian Heroes in the emulator?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
When we played it on real hardware, it was so much better. Oh my god. But yeah, this thing, I fucking love it a lot. It is fantastic. And yeah, I don't care. I love this D-pad. It's honestly not that bad. And I like the grip too. So I would put it, you know what? It actually will go in A tier. I like it that much.
Yeah. I guess
Although you know what, to be nice, we're gonna move DualShock 1 and 2 up into A tier.
Okay, that's fair.
And then Saturn Pad will go below them. Because, remember, it's only for 2D games. Actually, you know what? Nah, fuck them. Put them above the DualShock ones. I like it that much.
All the Saturn ones?
We're good. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Yeah, leave it like that. We're good. Alright. But yeah, American one, I love that thing. Alright.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, I think it's a pretty good controller for the Saturn, and hell, I'm surprised how well it feels. This is a controller... Another controller, I would say, where, yeah, I kind of did hate it a bit, because it's too weird for me, but actually holding it and even playing, like, a few games with German on the Saturn, which, yeah, by now you already know he wants a Saturn, but honestly...
Oh, yeah.
Really nice controller for what it is for the Saturn. Yeah. Really goddamn nice controller. Nothing to add, though.
Yeah, it's funny, especially because it's funny. I love it a lot because I famously remember that was a controller that people hated. They were like, "Oh my god, it's so big and bulky. What is this thing?" And I'm like, I fucking love it. What are you guys talking about?
I like it way more than the Genesis one. At least this one isn't in your face design-wise. Like, you know, I strongly prefer the design over the Genesis. God, even looking at the Genesis design from like far away, like, I'm sorry, it's kind of reminding me of the crappy PlayStation 3 prototype. Do you remember that controller?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about.
Oh my god, that controller was weird. But yeah.
Alright, now time for the Japanese one. I will say this, it is honestly a good controller. Literally, the reason why I like to switch back and forth is because here's the thing. When you hold this for too long, you kind of get hand cramps a bit because it's like you have to hold it like this compared to the American one where it's a little more, it's kind of similar, but like it's so bigger and bulkier compared to this one where it's like flat cheeks as hell compared to the American one where look at that, it's got a buoy. So, like, yeah, you got something to clench compared to this, where it's really flat, and it kind of really cramps up your hands a bit. Don't get me wrong, though, this is a very good controller. I like this a lot, and I don't care about the fact I have this in black. Like, a thing you guys gotta know about me in the Saturn is that I have, like 6 controllers, and yeah, they're all black. Like, I'm gonna make sure all these controllers are black, and I got one multi-tap. And fun fact, I actually got a really good deal on the multi-tap, because, my god, Saturn multi-taps are pretty expensive, but I was able to get a deal, and it was like only for $42 I paid. Yeah. But yeah, this thing right here, yeah, I like this. It definitely has the best D-pad Sega has ever made. But I will say right now that I don't always prefer to just play this all the time. In fact, I actually prefer to go back and forth. Which is my favorite? Actually, that's really hard for me to say because I'll be honest, I actually like both. It's just that I just like to switch back and forth because it's a lot better than sticking with one. If I had a favorite though, we're not there yet. But yeah, this thing though does the job, and to be completely honest with you, they're both tied. So honestly, yeah. In fact, you know what? Just to be nice to the, you know what? Nah, that's fine. That's fine. Don't even put it higher. It's perfectly balanced. Leave it tied like that. In general, I love this thing. It's great.
Yeah, same thing. Nothing to add.
Alright. Here we go. Time for my favorite controller Sega's ever made.
Wow.
The 3D controller. Oh my god, and I have 2 of these, by the way. In fact, I'll actually bring the other one over here just to show you. Yeah, here you are. I got 2 of these. If I can get this on camera. Yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, look at that. I got 2 of these on over here. Man, I do not know which is right and left. But yeah, I got 2 of these. And yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, I fucking love the 3D controller. You know what? Yeah, put it above the North American one. It's definitely my favorite Sega Saturn controller ever. In fact, like, I love this thing. It's kind of weird that you could just attach the cable. Unfortunately, they never really did anything with that. I mean, I actually think I remember they're going to make Rumble, but yeah. That actually reminds me, I think the only problem I have with the Sega Saturn controllers, honestly, is that it's a shame that that's the only console in the 5th generation that never had Rumble. Like, there's a lot of games on Sega Saturn that could have used Rumble, but no, it never had Rumble. Like, literally, I can already name them. The Burning Rangers, the Panzer Dragoon games, which Panzer Dragoon Saga, you guys should especially check out that game. It's really underrated. But yeah, like, literally, I wish this had Rumble, but unfortunately it did not. And yeah, Nights of the Dreams, in my opinion, is definitely a game that used this the best, because if I had one problem with the 3D controller, is that not a lot of games actually use this a lot well. In particular, my problem is that it offers 360 movement, and honestly, yeah, I like this stick a lot. But my problem is that not a lot of games were like, oh, we're gonna have it like running, because I will say right now, Burning Rangers, you can't run in that game. Like you could just move the stick a little bit up, and it doesn't even make you like walk at all. You just run. Like, there's no walking and then run like an analog stick. Nights of the Dreams and Sonic Jam had that, but not Burning Rangers for some reason. What's funny is that in Panzer Dragoon Saga, there's a B button to run, but when you hold it, you can actually walk with the analog stick, and I think that's pretty funny, even though it's kind of dumb that why didn't they just make it where, oh, it just works like a normal game where, oh, you run and then walk, but no, you have to hold a button to run. It's kind of a little weird, but I'm used to it. But yeah, this controller is definitely a beast. Definitely probably my favorite controller Sega has ever made, honestly. I love this thing. It's got the same good D-pad. All these buttons are the same. Like, all of them are like the same. It's great. You got this big boy start button. This stick is comfortable as hell. Honestly, I like it a lot more than the Dreamcast. Literally, the one thing the Dreamcast has over this is probably having bigger grips. But outside of that, I love this thing. It's incredible. Oh my god.
I'll never forget playing this the first time when I remember you had to go to the bathroom and you literally just let me play on your Saturn, and I got to try that controller. And even if back then I wasn't a huge fan of like the other controllers, the 3D controller was actually a controller I've always liked from the beginning, honestly. First off, I think the design is kind of funny, and also, I mean, I'm not saying the design was always bad. No, I like it, but at the same time, I do find it a little bit funny, where you have like a big circle, you have the Saturn logo, and like, I don't know, it's just a funny looking controller, but also like, it's surprisingly a really nice controller when you're playing like specifically Saturn games, like surprisingly like the joystick.
It was like Sega Racing, yeah.
Yeah, Sega Racing, not Daytona, Sega Racing, yeah. But yeah, the joystick feels really nice. The buttons feel nice, and even the D-pad, yeah. And I would say maybe the triggers. I think the triggers are good, even if I'm not
you made me forget to talk about one of the most important parts: the triggers. That was the first controller to ever have triggers. That's another thing I forgot. Wow. This is the first controller to ever have triggers. Before the Xbox, this is the first one to ever have triggers. The only problem I can tell you right now is that not a lot of Saturn games sadly use this. Not even Nights of the Dreams use the triggers.
Oh my
but yeah, the triggers. This is the first one to ever have triggers. Yes, this is the first one ever. That's very important to know. This is the first one to ever have triggers. Before Xbox and all that, it was Sega Saturn.
That is pretty cool. And yeah, I do think the triggers for honestly, okay, now looking at it, it's like the first triggers, they did a good job. Yeah, they did a great job. I guess introducing just like triggers. So yeah. I don't really have anything else. I know I keep saying that, but like literally I'm just gonna say it because I don't care. But yeah, I like the 3D controller, and I think it does belong in A tier. I think it's a really good controller, especially for Saturn games.
Oh yeah. Any heads up I'd give everybody is that even though it might seem like, my god, what, does German hate the DualShocks? No, I don't. I mean, if it makes anybody feel better, DualShock 3 is above because that's the best one. The DualShock 1 and 2, though, I think they're not that bad. But I mean, here's the thing. I don't use them every day because I don't have old PlayStation consoles to play with them, so I just have DualShock 3. But I mean, look at that. DualShock 3 is higher. Feel better. Okay. Which any more I would add about it is that, oh boy, the next time you're at my host, Lewis, I hope we can finally play 2-player Nights of the Dreams, so we can finally use 2 3D controllers.
Oh yeah.
That's something I actually have been really excited to finally see happen, because I got 2 now, so now we don't have to fight over it anymore.
Yeah.
Alright, but yeah, I apologize, I'm hyping it up, but whatever.
That's fine.
Alright, probably the most controversialist Sega controller for being white! The Dreamcast controller. You know what? That'd be nice? Super low A.
I'm surprised. I thought it'd be way lower, honestly.
No, here's the thing. It's honestly not that bad of a controller. In fact, as the successor to the 3D controller, gets a thumbs up. I actually don't mind it. But for a controller against the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox, oh hell no, go get the fuck out of here. Oh my god. Like, first of all, you don't have another stick for a 3D, for camera movement. And you don't have and I mean, okay, I'm gonna restart. Okay, so Dreamcast it's an interesting console. In fact, I think it's a shame that it's actually went up in price. I vividly remember I used to have one, and do you want to know how much I paid for it? It was only like $60 at the time, just for a complete console with a controller, the cables, and everything. If you want to know how I got it, what happened at the time, Lewis, was that, like, when I was getting into retro gaming, there was this store, which we still go to, but in the store, I had a bunch of games, and I traded a bunch of them just to get the Dreamcast for free. And I remember, like, yeah, I got the Dreamcast and everything, and it was great. Anything funny I would name, though, would definitely be like, I played quite the number of games on the Dreamcast. I love that thing. I remember I played Rayman and all this and that. Unfortunately, the Dreamcast is a little bit pointless since I feel like, if anything, I must admit, I'd argue that it's a lot more easier to get into Saturn compared to Dreamcast, where at least every single controller for the Saturn is like roughly around $20, whereas for Dreamcast, if you want, God forbid, a controller that's like colored a little bit differently outside of the regular old white, it's actually pretty pricey now. It's like now like $50, $60 if you want like a smoke color, you want gray, red, blue, green, any of those, expensive compared to N64 where it's like a little bit affordable.
Oh my god.
It's a shame, yeah. And yeah. And I will say now that, as a whole, I will say a few things with the controller. For starters, the D-pad, we already have to get that out the way, where somehow, after many generations of getting it right, they decided, fuck you, we're gonna do it wrong. And look at that D-pad. They fucking fucked it up. They ruined it. How do you go from this perfection of a D-pad right here, this beauty, to that piece of shit? How do you do that? That is bad, awful, oh my god. And then, yeah, I guess anything interesting I wouldn't note, though, is that I guess it's interesting that they finally removed the last 2 buttons at the end, so as a result, you actually have the same button layout that Xbox would actually use. The X, Y, B, and A.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And what's even funnier is that it's actually the same colors, too. It's just that they moved it around for when they did Xbox. Like, yeah, it's the same 4 colors, actually. Yeah, red, blue, green, and yellow. It's the same colors. It is funny, though, that they actually did cut it off those buttons, since there was actually a lot of Dreamcast games that needed those buttons, like Marvel vs. Capcom, Plasma Sword. Like, there was a lot of games that really needed it, and hell, even Soul Calibur. And Soul Calibur especially, so I think it's funny that they removed those buttons, especially on the console that had a lot of fighting games. But yeah, the Dreamcast controller, of course there's the VMUs, which I like the VMUs, they're kind of cool, even if I remember at the time I was a little grumpy that I'd always get the gray VMUs when I wanted it. No, I was grumpy that I get the colored ones. They didn't match with my controller. Like, they were colored, and my controller was always gray. Like, here's the thing, Lewis, I never had a colored controller. Brian always had a blue one, but not me. I always had the gray controllers. In fact, I never had that many. I only had like 2 Dreamcast controllers. Like, I didn't have that many. Yeah, Brian had to always bring more controllers for if we wanted to do more multiplayer with everybody. But yeah, Dreamcast is a controller. Dreamcast is a console. I must admit, I wouldn't owning again these days. But at the same time, it's a console that's a little bit pointless since it's a console where in particular, it's a console where a lot of the great games actually have gotten ported. And if there is a few games you want to play, you can just emulate it. So it's like a console that's like a bit torn, where it's like, I mean, there's kind of a point to owning it, and at the same time, there isn't. Anymore I would have a controller is that I guess it is funny that the cable's at the bottom and then you have to connect it up because of that BMU shit.
I was gonna make an inappropriate joke about the cable being at the bottom.
Oh my god, what was the joke?
Where, okay, did you have to put the cable on like the private spot?
Oh my god, that's funny. Now if it was on N64 it'd be even worse.
Oh god!
But I mean, if I had to jump at the Dreamcast, though, I feel like looking back on that system, I think my problem really is that rather than being a step forward and literally being a very long-term control system, it's very, the more you look at it, a lot more of a direct answer to the PlayStation and Nintendo 64 than, oh, we're going to move forward with the next generation. Like, literally, look at it. That's clearly against the Nintendo 64. Like, man, what other controller had a cartridge slot for you to put stupid shit in? Nintendo 64. What does that controller look like it was meant for? Early 3D gaming? Yeah. Like, literally, it doesn't look like it's a controller from 2002. It looks like a controller from 1995.
You're so goddamn right, yeah.
So, yeah, in general, you can clearly look at it and see that, wow, it's a little outdated. But yeah, like in general, it's not that bad of a system. Like, don't get me wrong, it still has a great library, but I still would argue it should not be safe from criticisms because, boy, is that system a little outdated from the start. And yeah, especially, of course, where I begin with the fact that it came out in 1999 and it still used CDs. And then next year, you had PlayStation with fucking DVDs. Like, they should have just at least made that system a little more capable. And I haven't even started talking about the disc issues or the controller port issues and all that shit. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole disaster. But yeah, the Dreamcast controller, if I had anything to say on this, since once again, it's another controller I did help from one of my friends, and this time it's Brian, where I actually played Vivid with his Dreamcast, which it was fun. And my god, that was just a weird controller to hold. Yeah, it's similar to the 3D Saturn controller, but I'll never forget playing like Sonic Adventure 2, because I'm so used to playing that on the deck with the PS4 controller. And I'm so used to there being a camera. Like, I remember, in Adventure 2, you are able to use, like, a second analog for the camera, so I'm using a Mario controller. But for Saturn, for Dreamcast, literally, there would be times where, like, I'm trying to see where I'm going, and I just realize, oh, there's no second analog stick.
You know what's funny? I actually remember in those games you can still use the triggers to rotate the camera because I don't know if you know, Lewis, but like the way it worked in the Dreamcast was that you had to press the triggers. And you know what's funny? It's funny because even though I'm over here shitting on the Dreamcast, it's funny because that's how I played the first Sonic Adventure. I played a Sonic story and Knuckles story on the Dreamcast, so yeah, I knew about the whole trigger thing. I never played the GameCube one ever because I knew back in middle school that version's terrible. But yeah, I remember, like, on Steam Deck, though, it's definitely better because, yeah, you can, like, rotate the camera, but you can still do the trigger thing. It's still really helpful, especially if you just want to rotate the camera, like, it's not too bad.
Fair. Yeah, same thing with also, like, Mario 64. I remember Mario 64 also had, and a lot of, like, Nintendo 64 games had that.
And hell, actually, I will bring up right now that even the Sega Saturn, if you want to know what were those triggers for, in a lot of those 3D games that actually were 3D, yeah, they actually used the triggers to rotate the camera too. Panzer Dragoon Saga rotate the camera, Sonic Jam rotated the camera, and yeah, even Panzer Dragoon Saga, and yeah, Knights of the Dreams, yeah, you could rotate the camera. The one game that didn't rotate the camera was Burning Rangers. Too bad. But Dreamcast, you could rotate the camera. I remember Sonic Adventure 2. I played it a bit, but yeah.
Yeah, overall, I will say, it's not the worst controller I've seen. It's a fine controller in my opinion. I honestly would put it way lower, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, just because it's just how outdated this goddamn controller is, and how, man, Sega could have done so much better with it. But hey, I mean, at least you get a Tamagotchi out of it, so yeah.
Just to be nice for you, Lewis, how about this? Let's move the PS5, the PS Move to low A tier, and then we put the Sega Dreamcast controller above the Classic Pro controller for Wii.
So, like, you want me to...
Yeah, move the PS Move to low A tier.
Okay.
And take the Dreamcast controller and put it above Nintendo 64.
There
you
you
go.
go. All right. Yeah.
There you go.
You know, yeah, I don't care. PlayStation Move deserves it's way better. I don't care.
I like
Alright.
I actually do like PlayStation Move. Actually, I think I like it more than I actually will admit, even though I like the Wiimote, I must admit, I think I actually do like PS Move a lot more because it's rounded, it's so much more comfortable. I love it.
Also,
And instead of it being a button, it's actually a trigger. It's so good. Oh my god.
I don't know. I kind of like the design for the thing. I think it's a cool design. Yes, you can argue it kind of looks stupid, but I don't care. I like it.
Well, now it's March 1st, and you'll know because you'll see that I actually grew some more hair during these 3 days. But yeah, we're back, and now we're gonna finish this tier list. All right. So I've never touched that damn thing. Okay.
The only thing I remember about this controller is that we got a funny Scott the Woz video out of it.
And I actually remember when that thing was being promoted, actually. I remember back when that was being promoted back in the day, and boy, didn't nobody fucking give a shit. Everybody thought it was always the disappointment from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. Now for a controller I can actually talk about, the Steam controller.
Oh,
now, I would buy that thing, but here's the thing. No, okay, why am I saying Steam? No, Steam is the program. Valve is probably going to make a new one. They've actually put a patent. They're actually going to make a new one, and it's going to happen eventually this decade. And that's why I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to buy that thing. But for whatever reason, Brian, though, he bought that thing, even though I don't know why, since I actually don't know what games he used it with, because here's the thing, that game controller is mainly good for, like, Metroid Prime and, like, first-person shooters. Outside of that, it's not good as a traditional controller, so I'm like,
yeah.
What is he using that for? Like, did he play Half-Life with that? For that usage, it's pretty good, and heck, I'll be honest, I would, you know what, to be nice, I'd put it above the Wii Classic Pro controller.
Okay.
I know that's really nice, but I will say it now, that's because it deserves it, because as a concept, it's not that, but actually, you know, on the second thought, okay, we're going to put that a little lower. Put it below the Sega Dreamcast. There you
there you go.
Actually, okay, no, fine, that's fine. I mean, hey, it's exactly like the N64, only one stick. But yeah, like in general, like the thing about it is that, yeah, like it could be better, especially because the back buttons are, yeah, it has back buttons like the Steam Deck, and they're literally like mouses. It's very flimsy, and then and yeah, it could be very better. Like the Steam Deck as a controller improves on everything the Steam controller had, except not having no rumble. But I mean, yeah, in general, if they made the Steam Deck a controller, yeah, it would be the great successor to the Steam controller. But yeah, the Steam controller could be better. Yeah.
You know what's funny? I actually never knew they were gonna make a new controller. I don't know why. Maybe I'm living under a rock.
It's because I knew this because of the narrow video. The narrow video revealed that, yeah, like there's a patent for a new one, so they're gonna make a new one at some point.
Okay, yeah. But if I have anything to say about this controller, another one I have not touched, so I don't have too much to say, but I don't know. I've always thought this controller was kind of weird, and yeah, it just kind of exists. I like what Jeremy said. I guess it's nice for first shooters, but yeah, I'm never buying this thing.
I would buy a Model 2, but I'm not going to buy the first one.
Alright.
Alright, Google Stadia, put that I have not used. Literally, that thing aged like dog poop. Yeah, Zebu. Yeah, all of that, yep, put that and have not used.
Bro really thinks it's Xbox.
Put that, all that and have not used, And now we're at somewhere we can actually start talking about. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Any heads up I would give, though, is Google Stadia. My God, man, now have I never seen a promotional campaign? Actually, no, if I have to joke about it, when that promotional campaign was going on back then, even I thought of this, but I thought, wow, I didn't know this was the sequel to the Sega Saturn's promotional campaign.
Exactly. Oh, my God.
Oh, it's so cool! And then it's like, oh, where's the games?
You can play them in the cloud. But what games?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like literally, the promotion campaign was terrible. Oh my god. But okay, Xbox, and boy, it's funny. I've actually touched all these controllers, but I only have the Series X, but we're not there yet. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt, I just realized.
Never used it.
Okay, just wanted to get that out of the way. But yeah.
Alright. Okay, so I've actually touched all of these, so I can talk about it. Okay, so Duke Xbox controller, it gets a lot of hate, but honestly, it's not that bad of a job. I mean, heck, it has enough of a fan base that for whatever reason, Hyperkin made a reprint of it, even though I actually think they got rid of the analog button, because here's the thing I actually didn't know for years until a video this year, but the original Xbox actually had analog buttons. Like, at 360 and 1 and onward, they don't have analog buttons. Like, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, earlier in the video, PS2, DualShock 2, and 3 had analog buttons. And the thing I never knew was that the original Xbox also had analog buttons. So when you play Metal Gear Solid 2 on the thing, because, yeah, I got a port to Xbox, it was still the same experience because you still had analog buttons. But the Duke controller, it's pretty damn big and pretty bulky, but it's not the worst thing ever. Now, is it my favorite controller? I'll actually be honest, no. But where would I put it? Probably somewhere in B. Like, yeah, you gotta scroll up. I can't see. Okay. Where would I put it in B? You know what? I'd put it over the Sega Genesis 6 button pad. Actually, now screw that. Put it, like, under it. They're tied.
Yeah.
And heck, you know what? Actually, yeah, okay, we're good. Okay. You know what? Okay, fuck it. Put the Super Famicom below the Duke. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's fair. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, you know what? Put the N64 below the Duke.
N64 below.
Yeah, okay, that's actually a lot more reasonable. There you go. You know what? Yeah, okay, I can live with it. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, okay. You're done, right?
Yeah, that's all I have to bring up in general. It has one of the weirdest analog sticks ever. Like, okay, so like one of the tops is like just a boob, and then the other one's like a normal one. It's really freaking weird. It's pretty weird and stretched. It's kind of like the weird Schrodingy version of the Dreamcast controller from another universe. But I mean, outside of that, it's not the worst controller, honestly. I don't mind it. Hell, the D-pad's fine too. Even though I actually prefer the North American Sega Saturn controller D-pad. It's a lot better than the one on Duke. But outside of that, Duke is not that bad of a controller. I've used it fair enough, and it's not the worst thing ever. I actually don't mind it. But the S1 though, I definitely prefer.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. It's definitely not the worst controller I've ever seen in my life. It's another controller I would say where, you know what, I kind of find them a little bit funny because, okay, first off, we have a big ass Xbox logo on it and it does nothing.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Like, if anything, it's like a branding thing, Lewis. It's like a branding thing. Like, out of any controller, like, a thing, Lewis, was that older controllers had a really elaborate, you need to know the branding. Like, Sega Saturn had, like, the Sega Saturn logo. Dreamcast had, like, the Dreamcast logo. Like, that's the thing they used to do back then. Nintendo, I mean, new consoles still do it. It's just it's not as big and in your face as they used to.
It's an actual button.
Yeah, but Xbox, though, Xbox, now the Hyperkin one actually made it a button. Like, they made it the home button, but the original one, nah, it's literally just a branding. It doesn't do anything. It's literally just on there.
Yes, but I think the reason why I more find it funny here is because, yeah, it's really freaking big. And it's like...
Oh, yeah, I remember. On the Duke, it actually is really big. Hell, like, the S controller made it a bit smaller.
Yes, and... Yeah, and also the controller itself is like really big, and I guess what they wanted to go with this controller is that they wanted to make it opposing for some reason, which I kind of find amusing.
Yeah.
But
I will say right now, they did drop that thing harder than a bomb, because a lot of control, literally, Panzer Dragoon Orta, one of the few, that game came out in 2002, and do you want to know what controller prompts it uses? It uses the S controller. Like, they immediately moved on from the Duke.
My goodness, yeah.
Like, yeah, it did not do well,
Yeah,
but okay.
Interesting start for Xbox, I would say, especially because later on you'll see Xbox somehow created one of the best layouts for a controller since the PlayStation, but we'll get to that.
Oh no, they already started with that controller. Yeah, they started it, but they made it better by the Xbox Controller S. Quick history lesson for everybody. If you ever wanted to know how that came to be, you see, that was actually the controller made for Japanese audiences, but then when everybody was like, what the fuck, they got a better controller, they brought it over here immediately. And yeah, that's how we got that controller. And you already goddamn know fucking A tier over the DualShock 2. I like that thing. Yeah, below.
Okay, sorry,
There you go. That Xbox controller. Oh my god, I like it a lot to a point where honestly, I think it's a shame that you can only use it with with the original Xbox. I actually wish they made it where you can use it on newer consoles. Like, really, I think it's dumb that the only console that actually let you use the old controllers was actually the Wii. The Wii let you use the gaming controllers, but no, PS3 and PS3 and Xbox 360. Nope, you can't use the old controllers. Fuck you. I think that's a shame. Especially because they're pretty good. Like, I like the Xbox controller S. I love that thing to a point where I wouldn't mind buying it again, even though I have no Xbox to use it with. But yeah, I love that controller a lot. It's comfy, it's great, the triggers are so good. I love that controller. It is fantastic. Literally, the weirdest thing I could joke about it is probably the white and black buttons that substitute for the shoulder buttons. But I mean, honestly, it's pretty comfortable. Honestly, when you try it, Lewis, it's pretty good. I like that controller. It's great.
But okay, it's nice to hear that because man, I've always found that kind of weird. Like, okay, so the sword runs instead, they're on that. Like, I don't know. I've always found that really strange, especially because.
I mean, it was on the Duke, but they moved, but it was like somewhere else. Like if you've seen the Duke, they actually changed around the layout. It's really interesting. Like the Duke, yeah, look, the start and pause is in the middle, but then the controller S, they moved it to the other handle. But I was saying that even though it looks weird, when you hold it, Lewis, you're gonna feel like you're in heaven. That controller feels comfortable as fuck.
Oh, okay.
Like if I had to describe, I actually would compare it to the PS4 controller. It's really comfortable. The grips.
Oh shit! Okay, I gotta try this thing.
Yeah, I like that controller that much, like to a point where it might have even inspired the PS4 controller's grips. It's really good.
Alright.
Alright, but yeah, the controller S, I love that controller. Okay. Connect, have not used.
Yeah, everything to mention about this thing. Yep, this was the thing that kind of ruined Xbox's reputation.
I would love to use that thing at some point, but I never have. And also, you know, just to make it, to do the job quickly. Yeah, I also put the Xbox One Connect. I'm pretty sure nobody's ever used it.
Nobody,
okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the Xbox 360. Famously, it was veiled as the greatest controller to ever use in gaming, and plus also for gaming on PC too. But these days though, I think it aged like a little bit poopy. But you know what? I would say it's tied with the Xbox controller S. They're both good.
Oh, okay.
You know what? Fuck it, put it over it.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. Now even though you might see and be like, what the fuck, Jeremy? You telling me you like the Sega Saturn controllers more than that damn thing? Alright, hear me out. I will tell you right now why I put it lower. No gyro. That and it uses batteries. Now you could also say, German, that applies to all the other console controllers after Xbox because they haven't evolved for shit, and I will say, yeah, you're goddamn right. Yeah. But here's the thing. You see, actually, this is not being fair. You know what? Put it over the Wii U gamepad.
Okay, that feels a bit more justified, actually.
And actually, you know what? Even more, fuck it. Put the controller S over the 3D controller.
Alright.
Alright, I'm just making sure my eyes aren't seeing anything. Yeah, you know what, that's actually fair, because I'm sorry, but the 2D controllers, I actually feel more comfortable than the DualShock 1 and 2. Actually, that, and I actually have a good reason. That, and because, I'm sorry, but the DualShock 1 and 2 are actually... Okay, you know what, I will defend PS3, and at least, you know what, the reason why you can't use those other controllers is because the DualShock 3 literally is the DualShock 1 and 2, so you don't need those.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Whereas the Xbox controller S is actually different. So it's like, why didn't Xbox let you use it again? It's weird. Yeah. You know what? PS move it over the DualShocks.
Oh my god. You're gonna get pitchforks.
I don't care. I like that thing more. Okay. I'm just correcting any mistakes that I'm like, okay, what the hell was I smoking, man? Controller Pro... You know, actually, nah, it stays there, because I remembered the Switch Pro controller, and I'm like, nope, never mind, it's gonna stay there. High B. Okay. Yeah, I'm just making sure. Any adjustments we need to make? Okay, we're good. I think this is fair enough. Xbox 360, okay. Even though it's technically more comfortable than the DualShock 3, I will say right now, I prefer the DualShock 3 because it has gyro, and fuck you, that's why. Seriously though, 360 has a good D-pad. It's really nice. It's a great controller to hold. Definitely one of the best controllers ever. It has triggers that give you flashbacks to Dreamcast and 3D controller. And yeah, it's a great controller all around. It's a shame, however, that they never put gyro in the thing or even upgraded it at all. Like, I mean, they did make this weird variant where you could switch the D-pad from feeling like the original Xbox to the weird thing they did with it. Like, I remember the D-pad was pretty weird.
Yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, 360 controller, pretty famous, and you know what? It deserves it. It's a pretty good controller, even if the console it was made for could have been better.
Yeah, I agree. This is a nice controller. I remember one time, I did held this one time at a friend's house. It was a long time ago, though. It was not German or anybody. It was a long time ago. But I remember holding it and thought, yeah, it was a good controller. Then again, that was during a time where I didn't really take controllers as seriously as we are here. So.
Oh yeah. It's funny. Yeah, I actually haven't been able to hold it because you've been missing a bunch of opportunities to just hold one. Because I'm pretty sure Ethan has some laying around.
Oh crap! You're right.
But then again, remember everybody. I think you gotta know about Mr. Fartman over here is that he sure loves to have his Xboxes laying around. Like I kid you not, we want to play with an Xbox 360 and it's always laying around, not connected at all.
Oh my god! Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Hell, even better, I'll actually reveal to everybody that Lewis one time even asked for it, but Ethan was like, "No, you can't have it. It's like my sister's boyfriend or whatever the hell."
Yep. Alright, Ethan, sure. Okay, but yeah, I'll be fair. Yeah, I don't really need that thing anyway, so yeah, why am I even complaining? But yeah, that's what I have to say about the Xbox 360 controller. I'm sorry I'm sorry to people if it seems like I'm mostly silent throughout this whole video. It's because I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't have anything to add about most of these controllers, sadly. I feel like if I held them more, or if I played more of these consoles, yeah, I definitely have more to say. Like the PS4, where like I had like a lot to say.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Alright, Xbox One. All I have to say is that D-pad shit. That's all I gotta say.
Alright, where do you want to put this?
Oh, if I had to rank it though, you know what? As a kind of a fuck you to that controller, do you wanna know where I'd put it? You know what? I put it under I put it under the Atari 2600.
Oh my god!
That's how much I don't like it. It's ugly, it's disgusting, it's a complete downgrade to the 360 controller.
Which, because it's not here, I might as well talk about, yeah, I do have one, but it's the Xbox Series S, Xbox One S controller, and I kind of don't like this thing. There are so many things I don't like about this thing. Okay.
Wait, what do you mean? It's the same exact controller.
Yeah, it's okay, it's because mine is white. And also,
it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just a different color.
So it's that cheap. Because, okay, I'm going to say right now, I hate the plastic on this thing. Compared to the PS4, where it's made really nice, this thing, do you hear this? This is cheap.
Yeah, I kind of hear it. You know what? I could be wrong. I think I might have went through a PS4 thing because remember everybody, I remember PS4 early controls I never knew, but they were made out of a different material that made it look pretty damn like Wii U gamepad, fingerprints. Oh, so yeah, maybe actually no wait no now I think I got it. Maybe they did a PS3 where the early controls are really sturdy and then the late controls are fucking cheap. Like I can tell you right now, guys, that late PS3 controls are a bit cheap. Like oh my god, they break a bit more easily.
Yes, and oh my god, this does feel like a cheap PS3 controller. Oh my god. I guess this part of the solder bunch, which yeah, you'll see if you ever see the video, German.
Yeah.
This part, I guess, kind of feels nice, but I'm sorry. This controller, I don't like using this thing, and also the buttons don't feel nice. I don't know. I feel like I'm playing with like a $5 controller. Honestly, it's honestly reminds me. I hate to say this, it reminds me of the Powerade controller. That's really what this thing reminds me of, and I find that really disappointing. So, yeah, that's yeah. Would I say this is the worst controller ever? Honestly, not really. It's playable, I guess. I played this entire thing when I was playing. I literally played this entire Okay, I'm sorry, I'm losing my words. But like, I played Sonic Unleashed with this controller, and you know what? It was not too bad, but man, I still recommend so many better other controllers than this garbage, cheap-looking controller. Plus, the white. I think the white kind of makes this controller look even worse, in my opinion.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because at least the black kind of hides a bit of the cheapness. Well, for the white, you could argue it did not come like this, but this line right here is not. I don't know, because I mean, at least with the PS4, look, it's barely noticeable. Which I'm sorry, this is glossy as hell. I had this thing for a long time, but this. Then again, the Xbox One, yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm kind of shocked that this is exactly what the Xbox One controller is. I thought the reason why this was cheap is because this was Xbox One S, the cheaper one. So I was kind of surprised.
You know, it should be the same controller, but if anything, I think it now just implies that I guess when they made that version, they just made the cheap controller cheap, just sold that damn thing. My god, they were like going cheap.
Oh my god, yeah. But yeah, Xbox One controller. Yeah.
But and yeah, fuck that D-pad. Fuck the D-pad.
Oh yeah, the D-pad. Goddamn. Now I remember how. Oh god, I hate it. Yeah, I'm not gonna touch that thing again. At least the Power A actually has a nice feeling D-pad. But oh my god. Oh god. Yeah, let's move on, please.
Alright, the Xbox Elite controllers, throw them in the trash because nobody cares about Pro controllers.
Yeah,
Oh my god, you need the highest advantage. You need to have the highest advantage.
And time for the last controller that we can actually talk about, and the one I actually have in my hands this whole time, the Xbox Series X controller. And I will say right now, is an actually pretty good controller, even if it's literally only good for gaming, because once you have gyro in the question, it's a very bad controller. And as a result, you know where I'm going to put it? Below the Wavebird.
Sorry.
Although, you know what? Okay, you know what? If anything, I'm just kind of real. Wait, why the hell is the game? Okay, you know what? Call me a crazy man, but you know what? I think I'm going to lower the game controls. I think they're too goddamn high. I would put them below the Pro controller.
Okay. That's fair.
And the Wavebird too. Okay. There you go. That's actually a lot more better. I like that a lot more. That's better. And you know, for everybody wanting Series X and Pro controller, you know, I'll say now, they're actually both tied for me. Literally, they just both have disadvantages and advantages. Xbox Series X controller is the best feeling controller out of the three main boys, but has no gyro. Pro controller, best controller all around. Has gyro, all these features, and no fucking triggers that this one has.
Exactly.
So it's like, yeah. So that's why the PS4, DualShock 4, and DualSense win, regardless, because, like, yeah, they have gyro in both worlds. Like, they have the triggers and gyro, so they win. But okay, Series X would be my favorite and the winner if it had gyro, but it does not. But okay, so this controller, I can review it. My history with this controller is that I remember it came out back in 2020, and I had a Best Buy gift card, and I remember I had like $40 on it, and do you want to know what I did? I used it to buy this controller, so I only had to pay like $20. Like, I saved a lot of money to get this thing, because it was like $60 or $70. I like pretty much paid for the whole thing, with the gift card. And, well, yeah, this is a really good controller, and honestly, one of the best controllers ever. Even though my only problem with it, honestly, was that for a long time, I couldn't get it to work well on Steam Deck, and it turned out I had to update the firmware, and I was so upset, because I was like, are you kidding me? I did not know I had to update the firmware. I had to look it up, I had to update the firmware, and once I did, oh my god, it's such a blast on the Steam Deck, it's incredible. In fact, one of my favorite features that I actually like is that this button right here, the middle one, this button right here lets you screenshot, which is so much easier than, like, you have to do the button combination when you screenshot.
Oh, you're so damn lucky, because I don't have a screenshot button.
Yeah, like this, yeah, they added this on the new one. They added this on the Series X controller, which honestly, if you have to get an Xbox controller, I'd definitely recommend this. But yeah, like literally, it has a screenshot button. It's so good. And the D-pad is a fucking improvement. Oh my god, the D-pad is so much better. It has 8 directions, and it's fantastic for 2D games. I love this thing. I actually played this for Wario Land 3. It's great. I love this controller. Literally, I think my only problem with Xbox One and this one would probably be that I hate that they got rid of the color on colored buttons. I missed them so much much. They were so colorful, but they don't do it anymore because we gotta be like PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, my God, that and batteries.
Okay, hold on. I want to go back to Xbox One. You know, fuck. I mean, we were talking about this as well. I want to mention something. Microsoft, this is my message to you. What the hell is this? What the hell is this? We're not in 2008 anymore.
Oh my God.
The batteries, I hate it so much. My God. I would play my Xbox more if it wasn't for the freaking batteries. This is once again why I prefer PlayStation 4. All you need is like a cable, or I'll buy the cheap freaking PS4 controller chargers and you're good. But Xbox, you gotta go to your local Publix and get 1,000-pack batteries. Like, it's so stupid, I swear.
And you know what's funny? It's actually because they have a deal with Duracell. That's why they do it all the damn time. They have like a deal. Oh my God. Any more I would mention about this thing that I actually like more than the Pro Controller, the Switch Pro Controller, is that the Pro Controller has a really tiny microscopic sync button, whereas the Xbox Series X has this big ass sync button, and I love it. So literally, that's another thing that wins in that regard. Like, oh my God, the Series X controller is fan-goddamn-tastic, and I love it. If it just had gyro, it'd be my favorite one. It'd be the best one, number one in the tier list, but unfortunately it does not. And yeah, I think that's everything I gotta say about this thing in general. I feel like if they ever made an upgrade, all I honestly want is just gyro. Seriously, Microsoft, just put gyro in there, and I honestly say it's my favorite one, but no, they didn't. Anything funny I did actually learn just for this video was that the reason why there's these ports for these controllers is just for keyboard, because like there's a keyboard accessory. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, alright. And yeah, all these can go away.
And yep, that is it.
Yeah.
We've covered everything we can actually talk about.
I will say, I do find this controller a bit interesting. Yeah, this is for disabled people, I guess.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. I remember that was like a whole big deal when it came out.
Yeah, that's nice. That's pretty nice. Good job, Microsoft. You get a point from me. But yep, this is the controller list. Is there anything you want to adjust in this list? Just to end it off here.
Okay. Anything I would change? Okay, I'm just making sure with my own eyes. I'm just looking. I'm singing in the rain, oh bird.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I just want to do this.
No. Put it back.
Really? That bad?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I don't like the Xbox. I would rather use the 2600 controller for first-person shooters than the Xbox One controller. I don't like that thing. I'll never touch it.
Again, you use that for first-person shooters now. That could be a challenge or something.
Oh my God! Even though the whole thing has like a joystick and a button, okay, but okay. I'm looking at it, and honestly, I don't think there's that much changes I would make. Yeah, sure, some of it looks a little questionable on the surface, but honestly, I don't really care. If anything, I think we can make for a really wacky out there tier list of anything. So yeah, I think that it's fine as is.
Alright, yeah, and I honestly say the same as well, and look at all this garbage. My God, this is literally a bargain bin of controllers, my God. But
yes. If anything, I feel like what really got me was definitely the controllers for those consoles that are like so expensive. Like I'm especially thinking of the Atari Jaguar, where that beast is just so fucking expensive.
Yes, what the hell?
Remember kids, the Jaguar CED barely works, and it's like over $800. It's really expensive.
And I also find really funny how the later other third-party controllers are really trying to be like Xbox. Like, do you see this?
If anything, it's like they're trying to be both Xbox and PlayStation. That's something I've noticed.
Yes.
Like the weird in-between child. Oh my God! Wait until you see the Logitech controller, where it's literally PlayStation, but it has Xbox buttons.
Yeah. Oh
it's not in your tier list, but it's a weird looking one. But yeah, my God.
But yeah, this is I say from the look of your list, I like your list. I think your list is extremely justified and actually a pretty interesting list. And I say this is a list that definitely does make some discussions, and that's something I guess I like about this list.
Yeah, that's fair.
Alright. Okay, I'm sorry, but I still need to think of like an outro, but like.
Actually, wait, one change because I realized something I done goofed up. Alright, okay, so PS3, put that over GameCube.
Alright, that's perfectly fair.
And the Wii U gamepad over GameCube.
Are you serious? Come on!
Over the Wavebird.
Okay.
There you go, that was much better.
Alright. So...
And 360 over Wavebird.
Okay. And controller S?
Stays.
Okay.
Actually, no, put it over.
Okay. What about Saturn 3D?
Put it over.
Saturn America?
Over!
Saturn
Over! Alright, we're good. We're good. We're good now.
Alright. Alright, German, thank you. I'm thankful for you to come over here so we can do this tier list. And yeah,
no problem, Lewis.
This has been really fun. And if you guys want more episodes of this, I guess this reboot of the tier list series, tell all your friends about this video, and please give me money as well. I'll do this. I do anything for money. All right.
And episode 2 better not be about Godzilla. It better be about something else.
You heard it. You heard whoever is gonna be my next guest. So yeah.
Hashtag get Ethan for the next one.
We'll see, alright, we'll see. Alright, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this video. This took 3 freaking days to make because because we had school and crap, but I promise you the next episode will only take 1 day. So, yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. And I guess to finish off about the places.
And they have Chinese folks here too? Okay, sorry.